Shows RPGrinders we haven't started yet. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. And looks like probably stronger. Yep, way stronger. Yeah. Much stronger than what it was before I reset that modem, so we're good to go. Shows RPGrinders we haven't started, but we are going to have a great show today. A little bit of news. We're going to have a Dear Breakman today, courtesy of Freak 5 Chaos. What else? Gonna have some reviews today. Looks like Eric has a review of Superman the Animated Series. I'm gonna have reviews of Japanese Tales of the Macabre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4K, and The Hike. Looks like Break has a review for Static Shock. Gonna have great Sweetos today, great Stinkos. Free for all. I think we're having another tourney. I'm not 100% sure yet.
I would have put up a review on the feed, but I decided to wait till next week because I could just do it all then.
Right on. It's a porno, Break said. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it sounds like a porno. Static Shock. Hey, Break, are you available? Let's get this party started. Hold on. Let me get Breakman in on the fun here.
I have something to say about what's going on with HBO Max later.
Okay. Whenever you want to.
Or rather, what's not going on with HBO Max? Because I believe something would happen with certain shows.
Right. All right. Just waiting on Break to get on in here. We'll have a little pre-show banter with Breakman, which is awesome. We very rarely do that. Usually his computer's a piece of shit and won't let him get on early for whatever reason. I think it's the feds. I think the feds are monitoring Break's every move. I think that's what it is. All right, Break, I'm calling you. Pick up, Breakman. Pick up, Breakman. It's probably going to say unavailable like it normally does. Son of a bitch. Oh, there you are. What's up, Break?
Hey, what's up?
We were not talking shit about you at all before you just answered. Just
good,
letting you know.
Good.
Yeah. Just letting you know.
Okay,
So
I believe you.
Let's see. What do we got going on here? We're going to have a lot of fun today, it looks like. What am I missing? Oh, shit. That's
Frank,
what I'm missing.
you get my free-for-all topic?
Which one?
I sent it to you on
Text?
I guess. Yeah.
What is
I
it?
should have set it up here, but I kind of forgot about it. I thought you might have done something though.
What do you
I want to talk about the whole JRPG thing.
Oh yeah. That's Remind me. Hey, Break, did you put together a tourney yet or no?
I got a surprise.
Oh, okay.
When the show starts.
So when it starts, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you wanna lead the intro or you wanna?
No, you can do the intro.
All right, okay. Just making sure. You're more than welcome. So are you, Eric. Either one. I mean, you let me know. We should have a great show today. And a special surprise by Breakman, which is awesome. I like surprises. Is it a surprise we're gonna like or hate? Probably both.
Well, I hope you like it.
Okay, good. Most likely we'll like it. Sounds like we're gonna like it. I don't know. I have high hopes. You know that stupid song. Where did that song come from? Do you guys remember that song?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Now it's in my head. Thanks, Frank.
I love it. We got high hopes.
I got high hopes that something's gonna fall on your microphone and break it or something.
Wow. That's not very nice, Breakman.
I know, but it was that song.
That song is wonderful, man. You know, it's like inspiring and, you know, it's just awesome. Looks like OX2 and Kata are in the chat. Not in the chat, but, you know, watching. So welcome. Lurking behind the scenes. lurkers. I see you there.
The chat.
I know. Not even Eric's in chat.
No, maybe it's because I'm.
Yeah. Maybe it's because you're doing something.
It's because it put my tab to sleep because I wasn't looking at it.
Oh, I got
This is something Opera does to conserve memory.
Oh, that's kind of cool, I guess. Let's do this, and let's do this, and do this. Okie dokie.
So it probably thinks I'm not there when I'm not looking at it.
Yeah. Come on, you piece of shit. Trinity Trigger. That couldn't sound more like an old school RPG if they tried. Let's do that. Let's do this. Okay. I guess we'll just do these things as we go. The videos.
I'm not that excited based on what I heard from another podcast who played the Japanese version. They weren't impressed with the story
Of what?
of Trinity Trigger.
Oh. Well, look, I mean, in JRPGs, I mean, the stories aren't really where it's at, right? It's mostly with battle systems and, graphical genius and, a few surprises here
The
and
thing
there.
is, do you want to put up with a gameplay loop for a certain amount of hours?
That's true.
Only to get a story that is not that interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's true too. I mean, you needed something at least a little interesting. You know what I mean? But we're okay. Okay, you guys ready to go? Break, you ready?
Mm.
Yeah. Did we lose Break? Breakman, bathe her and bring her to me. You there, Break?
I walked away. I'm here.
All right, you ready to go?
Sure.
All right, let's do this thing.
Kinda.
All right.
I'm thinking about it.
You're thinking about it? All right. Have you thought about it long and hard? He said long
Very
and
hard.
hard. All right, here we go.
All right.
And welcome, everybody, to episode 730 of RPGrinders. I'm your host, Frank Branches, alongside my trusty cohorts, Eric the Great, Breakman the Bold. Gentlemen, how are you?
Okay. I'm tired. I've been busy this week. It's been a busy week.
Oh, yeah?
And, I'll explain to you why it's been a busy week.
Okay.
Because I have a little bit of surprise here for you. Last week I was tasked with making a tournament for this week, and the tournament was supposed to be the worst game based on a cartoon.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, worst cartoon based on a game.
Right. Worst.
And that's the problem. I couldn't find enough to make a tournament.
Okay. So
that left me with a dilemma. So, I was doing this on Tuesday because I didn't want to wait until the end of the week to do it. So I didn't come up with anything. So Wednesday I sat down and thought about it, and I came up with some stuff. And finally, by about midnight last night, I was done with it. I made, because I couldn't decide on one tournament, I made two.
Two minis?
No, I made two tournaments, two full-blown tournaments. And that's my surprise. You guys get to choose which tournament we take.
Oh, I like it. So what are our choices, Breakman?
Okay. Most annoying video game character, or, most annoying character or enemy type. Or, worst game based on a movie.
Worst game based on a movie. I like both ideas, Breakman.
Like I said, I couldn't decide on which one because I like both, so I did both.
But I like the latter a little bit better just because it's close to what we were kind of talking about, sort of. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with the latter. What say you, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. We can hold the other one until another time. So we
Yep.
got 2.
Awesome. Okay. And you'll be providing me with that link when we get to it. Okay.
I'm working on that right now.
All right. All right. No problem. All right. Let's. You know what? While we're waiting for all that, it's not till the end of the show. Let's hit up the news.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
RPG news.
All right, Eric, you're up.
We got from RPG site NIS America to release Cry Machina in fall 2023 for PlayStation 5 or to Switch and PC. And it'll feature Japanese voices and English text, so no English dub, unfortunately. For those who are really adamant about their video game experience or their anime experience having English dubs.
I don't know why anybody wishes that. Like 9 times out of 10, the English dubs are far inferior. So, I mean, get over it, people. Reading is not hard.
Yes, it is. Shut up.
Reading is fundamental. Damn it! You guys remember?
Maybe if localization budgets were like such that they could hire good talent, then maybe I'd be more interested in English dubs most of the time.
Yeah. It never works out. I don't know why. It's just almost never. Like usually the dubs are pretty shitty.
Like you're not getting a good dub unless your game's name is Yazuka or like a Dragon now, as it's called, or Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Or I guess like it has a lot of known characters, but I didn't particularly find the voice acting bad. But I guess Dragon Quest would be that too, because it's by the same company that does Final Fantasy, so they have a budget.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, this Cry Machina looks pretty good. Cry Machina looks
and like you
decent.
listen to the English localizations in Fire Emblem Engage, and it's kind of not good, but not bad either. It's just there.
Yeah. Looks like Alice Cedra and Drapsnat are in there as well. I see you, lurkers.
To be fair to Nintendo, it's the first time they've actually had extensive voice acting in a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, anything else on this story, Eric?
I could go over the story a little bit. In a world where humans went extinct thousands of years ago, synthetic beings known as Deus Machina, as in DEI. Get it? Deus Ex.
Right.
Have been tasked to bring mankind back. Join 3 EVE acronym, the recreated psyches of deceased humans distilled in synthetic bodies as they seek their full-fledged humanity, explore Eden, discover the secrets hidden within.
All right. Sounds pretty decent.
So
Looks
it's an
decent.
action RPG.
Yeah.
And
Oop, I don't know what that was. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I was looking at the mini trailer. It looks pretty decent. So, check it out. All right, Breakman, next story, please.
Coming to us live from RPG site. Trinity Trigger launches on April 25th in North America and May 16th in Europe and Australia. A PC version has been announced, but I guess no date, so hold your breath and keep on holding. Trinity Trigger is an action RPG inspired by 90s classics featuring 3 playable characters and 8 weapon types that can be changed on the fly. Okay.
Yeah, we were just commenting on this before. Eric says he...
Also, I think the reason that Cry Machina won't have an English dub is because most of that budget's going towards the Trails of Reverie and Trails into Darkness localization.
Yeah, Eric and I were talking about this Trinity.
Oh yeah, I forgot to put that on the list. Let me get another link. Just one more.
All right. This Trinity Trigger apparently doesn't have the greatest story, but I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm fairly intrigued by it. I mean, it looks okay to me. So there you go. All right. The next story comes to us from RPGsite.net with its 50 million commercials. And that is Mugen Souls will launch on the Nintendo Switch April 27th, and that's pretty much the gist there. It was already on other platforms, I believe. Yep, PlayStation 3 in 2012, PC in 2015. So a long string of old games coming out on the Switch, and I think it's because, I mean, that's about all the Switch can do. You know, I mean, it's a shame, and I wish they would come out with Switch 2.5 or maybe even a new system. But I mean, it's Nintendo. They're always far behind when it comes to tech, but the games usually are spot on, especially their first party stuff. So I mean, that's their bread and butter. That's how they live. I'm wondering, Breakman, how long do you think that they can get away with that?
Oh, they've done it for years. I mean, they survived. Just think about like the failures they've had, and they survived. Like the GameCube and the Wii U were failures.
I know. I know. It's really weird.
I mean, especially the Wii U would have sunk most companies.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Nintendo rebounded very well.
Well,
and, their strategies kind of worked, like play the long game, and it's about the software, not the hardware.
You know, the PS4 turns 10 years this year.
Wow.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it came out in November of 2013.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Breakman, and it has to be that. It has to be the software, right? And the software usually sells gangbusters. I mean, look at Metroid Prime Remastered, man. I mean, people are begging for a physical release of that game.
I mean, Nintendo has the best first-party lineup.
They really do.
There's nobody close. Sony and Xbox, not even close.
Yeah, I think Sony can make its case with what its first-party stuff, like Uncharted, God of War. I mean, they've got some heavy hitters, but I agree with you.
Nice, but it's not all. But they're not like. Nintendo's are basically the whole fucking family can play their game, you know. Yeah. Whereas like the Xbox and PlayStation, their first-party games are more adult and teen-oriented, boy-oriented, and stuff like that. Yeah. Where Nintendo, like they're like our games, you know. We don't care about gender or age. Play our games.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's true, and it's tried and true. It's worked how long? I mean, even when the hardware sales have been off, like you mentioned, Break, their software sales are never bad. I mean, any of their first-party stuff sells really, really well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and that's what keeps them afloat. It's their bread and butter. I think the moment that they sell their first party stuff off, like for instance, if they were ever to do it to Sony or Microsoft, which has been rumored, then that's kind of the end of Nintendo hardware. I think, you know.
I'll say never say never, but I don't see Nintendo selling themselves to anybody. But then, you know, they could get a new president, comes in and decides to, like, he wants to, or she wants to.
Well, I think Microsoft was very close at one point, Break, to getting the entire Nintendo library on their stuff, but I don't think
they weren't, because Nintendo was never going to agree to it.
You never know, man. I mean, the information that I got, obviously I'm not, you know, super prominent, but the information that I got was, you know, there were rumblings. And
that information at gun.
No, I only remember Microsoft trying to.
Yes, they did
Nintendo,
try.
And then Nintendo shut them down immediately because they thought that was a joke.
Well, I mean, joke or otherwise, if they get enough money, dude.
I was gonna say, if Microsoft can convince Nintendo that they'd make a huge profit off of it, I don't think it'd be that hard.
I don't think it'd be that hard either. I mean, they just got to show them the money. You know, I mean, show Nintendo the money.
Platforms. Like the games we've got from Nintendo are absolute junk, but they make a fortune on them. So
yeah,
I mean, they're a company that said they wouldn't go mobile, you know, because they got their handheld platform.
Right. Okay.
Well, to be fair, Nintendo themselves haven't actually made any mobile games. They get other developers to make them.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true. Garbage.
Yep. All right, Eric. Next story.
Next story is Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, which just basically stealth dropped on, like, I think Wednesday?
Wow.
No, Tuesday.
So it's already out then?
Yeah.
No. The DLC is not out. They just made an announcement.
Oh, the announcement. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. There's like a little bit of, like,
they said it was in development. But who knows how far in development and whether or not it's coming out at the end of the year or not.
It'll be out this year. They have a pretty good track record from
They haven't
software.
announced a date, have they?
No, they didn't.
See, I don't.
All we got was one
I
like
thought-
screen image and a title
Yeah.
logo.
The Erd Tree. I mean, it's obviously going to be badass. That game is just fantastic. Hard as hell, but really, really good.
And I called it. I
did.
I said they weren't gonna do it over the weekend, but they were gonna do it sometime this week. And
Yeah,
they did
Eric called it.
literally Tuesday.
Yep, Eric texted me and he's like, they're gonna release it this week, and sure enough, Tuesday they released. I think you text me on Monday, Eric, or no, it was
I
last
didn't
week.
text you. We were talking about it on the show.
No,
Oh,
you had
man.
text me too, dude.
I didn't
Okay.
text you. I texted you showing you on Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. Well, nonetheless, it's good news because Elden Ring's a good game, and From Software is just on fire. I mean, they can do no wrong. They're the one company that is just kicking all the ass. You know, I mean, I can't name a company that's hotter than From Software right now. I mean, honestly.
Nintendo.
No. I mean, yeah, Nintendo for sure, but I mean, Elden Ring, dude. I mean, what was it? What were the sales numbers? Like 2 million?
20 million.
20? Holy
Million.
fuck. Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's sold. We talked about it last week. I don't know if that's sold or,
Pretty
shipped.
sure it's sold.
Well, if it's sold, that's got to be up there with the all-time
Even
greats.
shipments would be.
It's a
would
big
still
number.
be good.
Yeah, it's a good number. It's great. So, good for them. All right, Breakman, next story.
Come on, mouse. Don't freeze on me. Oh my god, my computer. Coming to us live from RPG site. Luminous
Yes.
Productions to be merged into Squinix. So, Squinix buys another one and they disappear.
In other words, Forspoken did so badly that they had to buy the company to salvage it.
Wow.
to settle up. Yeah. I mean that.
Ouch.
I mean, ouch, indeed, man. Forspoken did shitty. Ugh.
Not like I can't blame them for doing shitty because it seems like it's a pretty average game.
Yeah. It didn't seem all that great. I mean, the CG trailers were great, but I mean, when you're relying on CG, I mean, you used to be able to get away with that in the past, like Killzone and other things, but got to have something behind it.
And the game has like some issues with there's a big stink on the internet about like in the intro of the game where your apartment's on fire and the girl's worried about our cat despite the fact that her cat's like right there, but like she's worried about her life savings, but the life savings is like apparently right at your feet. So like, why are you worried about the life savings? Just grab it and then get the cat and go. So there's clearly a disconnect between the people that were writing the script and the people that were programming the game environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
All right.
speaks probably to other aspects of the game's design as well.
Yeah. Yeah, troubled development for Forspoken for sure. All right. Let's see. I think it's my turn next. Next story comes to us from RPGsite.net. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet DLC, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, launches fall 2023. The DLC will come in two parts, priced at $34.99.
Yeah, that's the season. Yeah, because you have to buy the season pass.
Right.
You can't just buy either of the two.
So, part one, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the Teal Mask coming fall, and the Indigo Disc launching winter. So, $34.90. Is it worth it, Eric, you think? Think it's going to be worth it for both of those DLCs? $35 bucks?
I'd say wait to get the season pass on a sale or buy the game at a discount or on a sale somewhere and then buy the DLC so you don't have to spend so much money on both.
That's a lot of money. I mean, what is it, $60 for the game? And then
I finally caved today and bought Scarlet off of GameFly used at $44.99, so about $45. But I had coupons that reduce the price down to like 37.
That's not terrible. That's pretty good, actually, Eric. Not bad. All right. I think it's Eric's turn. Eric, next story, please.
So if I get the DLC, it'll probably be months later. Once part 2 comes out, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
But the next article is also from RP Gamer or RPG site, and it's about how the Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition, which is really just the next gen version, and includes, I think, that all the DLC released to date.
Yeah.
So PlayStation 5, Series X and S, and PC, which already has a release, but I guess if you haven't bought the game already, you can just get everything in a bundle.
Yeah. Freaks in chat. What's up, Freak? Nice to have you in here. Skotoma's in
Those
chat.
who already own the Outer Worlds and DLC can upgrade to the Spacer Choice Edition at a discounted price of $10.
Yeah. Skotoma's also in chat. He says, I always wait for the sales. And I'm with you, Skotoma. I do the same thing, man. I always wait for sales.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I bought a new game.
And what I want to know is the Spacer's Choice Edition going to be available on Game Pass along with the original Outer Worlds?
Don't know. All right, Breakman, apparently we have one more story. I'll let you do it. I have to use the restroom, so you guys talk about...
I'm trying to load it right now, and I'm having trouble.
All right, maybe Eric can do the last story. I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be back.
Ah, Christ.
Eric, next story, please. Last story.
Okay, next story. It's not the last story. It's the second to last story. Oh, wait, it is the last story. Never mind. This is one I just found yesterday. Legend of Heroes Kuro no Kiseki for PC now available in Japanese with new features by PH3. Basically, NIS is publishing the game, and they are basically trying to capitalize on people who don't want to wait for a localization by selling it on Steam. Plus, that also protects other companies from snatching it up. And it's basically their proof of intent to localize, because there is going to be English support added whenever the translation gets done. And I'm guessing they're using this as a base for the console ports. So it's weird because like the game originally released on PS4 in Japan, and then they ported it to PS5 at some point, and then it came to Steam, and then, or was it the other way around? But I don't know. But in the US and Europe, it's going to be a case of they're using the PC version as a base, and then they're going to port those to the other platforms. But I think the PS4 release is somehow going to be just the original PS4 release.
Okay.
But they're probably just going to use a localization to get it patched.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Come on. Why is this shit not... My computer is like completely frozen. I know it's working because I wouldn't be on Skype right now if it wasn't. But
At least it's, I mean, somewhat similar situation to where Zero and Azure were released, because the PS4 version was based on the Kai release that Falcom themselves made, and then what we got was for the Switch and the PC was basically based off the PC release, and then the Switch just basically is basically that code but converted for Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it comes to the PS5 release of something like East 9 and 8, they basically just use the PC as a base.
I guess it's probably easier to port from the PC than anything.
Yeah. So the PS5 version of this game is going to also be probably similar.
Gotcha. Oh, for crying out loud. What do you mean pages haven't... For fuck's sake.
Because I'm not exactly sure on this, but I think the PS5 port of Kuro no Kiseki that's out in Japan right now is actually based on the Chinese release.
Huh.
But even though I think Falcom themselves were developing it in conjunction with them, so I guess the Chinese wing was just probably more interested in the Chinese localization. So Clouded Leopard Entertainment was doing that, and they did the PC port for Kuro no Kiseki. But it's also gonna add new features that weren't in that release, such as full mouse and keyboard controls, which I don't know why you don't want to use mouse and keyboard on an RPG like this game. I mean,
people could be used to it,
Yeah, but various resolutions. Like one of the things I saw advertised today is that you can have up to 360 frames per second if your monitor can support that and video card can support that. I don't know why you'd want to go that high though, because past 120 there's no point, because your eyes won't be able to see that well to notice things. But I guess it's extra frame rate real estate though, in case like for whatever reason the game starts chugging. But an enhanced autosave, additional configuration options, field of view scalings, and Steam Deck optimization.
Yeah. Where the hell is
But that's all I really have to say about this. And apparently, based on people who were digging into the Steam files for this game, and Trails of Darkness is apparently what the game will be localized as once it hits English.
Trails of Darkness. I like it.
I'd pay somebody like a sumo wrestler or a martial artist. I'd pay them money to headbutt my computer in half.
Yeah. Skodoma says,
no, it's Trails into of the Dark rather than Into Darkness, which it should be, in my opinion.
Skodoma says, I'm just happy when I get 60 frames per second. I agree. 60 frames.
Yeah, he wants 30 times that.
Yeah. I mean, 120 is really nice. I've seen games running at 120, but I mean, that's high-end computer shit for sure. Okay, where do we leave off? Are we done with news, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we are done with news. Anybody have any homie discounts?
Actually, I do have one. I'm not sure how long it's going, but if you have a Verizon account, you can get the Xbox Series S for $150.
That's not bad. That's not bad if you want to dip your toes in the Xbox side of things. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
The S is actually pretty robust, man. It's
you can. The best use case I could see for getting an S is making an emulation box.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could do that. I have a Dear Breakman, so let me go ahead and.
I'm trying to share these links with you and stuff. Can we hold off on that for a moment?
Okay. What link are you sharing with me, man?
Never mind. Let's just do it. Let's get it over with. I'll try and do two things at once.
Okay. Well then, here we go. All right, Dear Breakman, this comes to us from Freak5, who's in chat. He says, here's another Ask Breakman. With the movie Cocaine Bear that is out right now, and Meth Gator coming out later this year, what animal would you want to see in a movie that is high on ecstasy? Breakman.
An elephant on ecstasy.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that, man.
I see. Oh, and we have to see a giraffe on it. Well, actually, I have to see a giraffe on every drug, just because. I mean, that long neck, you want to see what it goes on, because
Right. Eric, what animal should we watch? Should we watch high on ecstasy in a movie?
A bird of paradise, maybe.
You know what I think? You know what I think it should be? I think it should be a silverback gorilla. On ecstasy. I think that would be pretty badass. Or maybe a great white shark on ecstasy.
I want to see a hyena on heroin.
Hyena on heroin. Ooh, the heroin hyena. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Freak5 says elephant was my first thought too, but since asking this question, I realized the best answer. What's the best answer? What's the best answer, Freak5? All right. Let's see. What do we? Okay.
I sent the first one. That's the bracket we're not using because I was just
All
showing
right.
you. But I'm gonna send you the other bracket too.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's just my web browser's taking for freaking ever to do anything. This shitty ass computer. Anyway, so let me see. What other animals would good on ecstasy?
Freak
You
Five.
don't want to get a monkey ecstasy. You don't
Yeah.
want-
Freak Five says based on a true story, rape ape Harambe has his dick out. Scotoma says I just
don't give a monkey ecstasy.
Right.
There's a reason. Apes and monkeys, you don't give them ecstasy.
right horny
Can't be
monkeys,
trusted with.
horny
They can't control
gorillas,
it.
horny
They-
orangutans. You know.
They can't handle their alcohol.
Right, right. Let's see. Scotoma says, I just seen the story of how Cocaine Bear came to be. It's a true story, LOL, except the real bear died of an overdose. Yes.
Yeah.
So
It
the
is.
Cocaine Bear in the movie is basically a super bear.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
There was a bear that really got high, but it
Yeah.
OD'd and there wasn't a rampage or anything like that. So it's
No.
yeah. I wish I didn't know that tale.
I know. Based on a true story, but, you know.
Wait, would cocaine make you go on a rampage?
It
This
can.
almost sounds like some reefer madness, like anti-drug propaganda bullshit.
I mean, bath salts maybe, but it's mostly like with cocaine, like you kind of feel like really energetic and stuff like that. Like it's an
It's not a cocaine rage feels
Haven't you ever fucking seen...
murder spree. It's more like the bear's extremely excited, so his overwhelming power is just killing everything.
Haven't you guys ever seen Scarface? I mean...
Holy shit! You said that the exact same time Mrs. Breakman said it.
Yeah.
She said Scarface at the exact same time. Wow.
Yep. Scarface, man. That'll prove to you what cocaine can do for you, man. If you want to talk about raging on cocaine. I love Scarface.
Go to my little friend.
Yeah. Blow. Shoots them all, man. That's a badass movie, man. I really like that movie quite a bit. I haven't seen it in years, but it's great. I'd like to see it in 4K.
Mrs. Breakman's in there quoting it. She loves it too.
Oh, I like that movie quite a bit, man. All right. Are we done with that? So we decided that the best ones would be like elephant, giraffe on everything, and you know.
I'd also like to give an alligator ecstasy and then let it go loose in the water.
Well, they're doing what is it? Holy shit! What is that movie? Hold on. Breakman or Freak Five said Meth Gator. That's right. They're doing a Meth Gator one. So that's from Asylum. That's gonna be awesome. Trust me.
The name of the movie.
Were these developed in isolation from each other?
Yes.
Because one sounds like a ripoff.
Yeah.
Haven't you noticed this phenomenon in Hollywood that happens? It seems like every so often.
Yeah.
Directors that have never met each other come out with similar movies.
Yeah.
They're not. They didn't. There was no idea that somebody else was working on that kind of movie. But
well, I think in this particular case, it is what you call it, was inspired by the Cocaine Bear. So it's that studio called Asylum, which always, like, you know, when Sharknado came out, they had a hand in that, and then, you know, a bunch of other things. But
that company did the Pooh movies. Apparently, they're doing Peter Pan next and some other ones.
Oh God.
I've heard it was really bad.
It's entirely possible it was developed in isolation, but they said, hey, let's release it now, riding off the success of this other movie.
It's a possibility. Scotoma says, I got Crunchyroll and have been watching Trigun Badlands. As a huge fan of the original, I'm not disappointed. So that's awesome, man.
Don't you mean Stampede?
I don't know.
Badlands is
Badlands
on that
is the
service.
movie.
Yeah, Badlands is the movie.
Although I think that might also be on Crunchyroll.
I think it is. Yeah, maybe that's what he's
I don't
referring.
think it used to be, but now it is, because I think Funimation had finally put it up on its service like a while back. But since it's basically Crunchyroll now, it's probably migrated over.
And he's been watching My Heroes One's Justice. I heard that's good. I haven't delved into that, Scotoma.
I can't believe you're calling this show My Hero One's Justice when that's just the game, because they couldn't use the name.
Freak 5 says Bambi the Reckoning. You know, one of the greatest things I've ever seen, guys. Has anybody seen that Godzilla movie with Perry Mason dude? What's his name? Raymond Burr.
Yeah, that was the American version of the original Godzilla.
Yeah. Did you remember the beginning of that? Like when they showed the cartoon, the black and white cartoon of Bambi, and he was just like, in the fields, and it's all nice, and all of a sudden Godzilla just fucking stomps on him, and that was it. That was the whole cartoon. That was one of the greatest beginnings to any movie ever. It was awesome. It's great. Okay. Are we done with the Dear Breakman?
Yeah, we can definitely do this all day though, because there are so many animals we could get high with different drugs. I mean, like I said, you can't get a monkey. You don't want to give a monkey drugs because they're evil. Monkeys
well, what about like a viper on speed, or a black mamba?
PCP tiger.
Ooh, PCP tiger. I like it. Wow, PCP
How about
tiger.
black mamba on speed versus a mongoose.
Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I really like that.
Sloth.
Check this out. What about a bison on crack bison? That'd be fucking badass, man. Ooh, can you imagine a rampaging bison? That'd be badass.
Liquid sky cockatiel.
Sky cockatiel. Squirrels. Freak 5 says, "Fuck that, man. I don't want any squirrel on anything, but what they're already on, man."
No, actually, that's not a bad idea. If you want to give squirrels, say something like, don't give them speed. Like, the squirrel on speed's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But if you give a squirrel ecstasy, they're probably going to spend their time off in the trees dancing around and fucking off and shit like that, They'll be too busy goofing off to fuck up the yard.
I don't know how that would make a good movie, though. I mean, seriously. I mean, if it was my choice, raccoons would be better, Scotoma, for sure. If it was my choice, they would all they would all overdose on drugs, fucking squirrels, but. All right, let's move on.
Inquiring minds want to know.
What have you been playing, Breakman?
Like I said, I was in the tournament for the last several days, so I haven't really been gaming that much. But when I was, some more Friday the 13th and Carmageddon. Nothing's really changed that much. We got some more kills. I'm up to like 70% in the kills now.
Dang it, man. I want you to get that 100% so bad. You were only, one or two kills away from that?
Achievements, like there's one for killing like 1,313 people. I've got over like 1,100, so it's like I might as well just finish it.
Yeah.
Should give a squirrel an edible.
It's not good for him.
Waste of an edible.
Yeah, that's a total waste, Freak 5. Total waste.
You're encouraging it.
Yeah.
The squirrel's gonna come back for more.
I know. The squirrel's gonna come back for more, like wear a tie-dyed shirt and be like, "What's up, man? Hey, you have any more of those edibles, brah?" All right, Eric, what you been playing, man?
2 games I can't actually talk about yet until Tuesday at least.
All right.
But other than that, I finished Metroid Prime Remastered, and I'll have a review for that next week.
Awesome. Scotoma says you're more likely to have a raccoon eat the edible than a squirrel. Yeah. Actually, squirrels will eat almost anything too, Scotoma. They're not super picky, but yeah, raccoons will eat anything for sure. All right, let's see. All right, anything else you've been playing, Eric?
Played a little bit of Layton's Mystery Journey. I haven't got very far though.
All right, I've been playing a little bit of Last of Us 2 again. Getting a little further. I'm in downtown Seattle now, so making some progress. I did a couple of sections of downtown Seattle. I'm just to the part where the humans are starting to show up more and more, which is never a good thing in those games. So All right, let's move on to
RPGrinders reviews.
All right, Breakman, you have a review.
Yes. It's kind of interesting that the show that I watched actually ended the thread of it closed off one of the threads that was left opening on the show that Eric watched. Which is interesting. It's just one of the guest appearances. Superman makes a guest appearance in one episode. Batman's in several. I should probably tell people I'm talking about Static Shock. the other DC show that's kind of linked to the Justice League and the animated series verse, or whatever you want to call it.
It technically wasn't even a DC Comics, but DC Comics bought the company that made the Dakotaverse, so now it is.
So the show, the first season of it, I kind of felt like it was the white man's interpretation of a black superhero. And I was like, this is the only show I can think of that's like a prominent black superhero as the main character. But the first season, it felt really like, it felt like they were trying to copy Spider-Man. Like, smart kid in high school hiding a secret, and he's quippy with every fight. He's got to say the first one-liner and keep talking and shit. And it's like, okay, like I like it, but okay, like you're copying Spider-Man and whatever. The second season, it started to change. It seemed like they were more listening to the audience. It felt like maybe they're cartoon freak.
Either that or they hire consultants.
And that came out years ago. Like this show's been off there for a long time at this point. I think it came off there in like 2004, something like that. But so where was I? So he's got the power of static electricity. They don't really shy away from things like racism, although they only really address it once and they kind of move on from it. Same with police violence. And then, I don't know why those were kind of one-offs. And then the show's kind of set up in the way of like a Batman animated series. Well, no, I shouldn't say it. And in the way of like a Superman animated series. Like every episode is a continuation of the next, but they seem loosely connected. Like they don't really talk about it and such like that. But the second season's when they also started adding guests. Like it opened up with Batman, which was awesome, and Joker. And then we got Shaq.
Shaq. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let me see some of the other guests. Little Romeo, who does the theme song. Some real basketball players. Karl Malone, Steve Nash, and a couple others. Yao Ming and somebody else. Can't remember another one. Those guys prove that voice actors earn their pay.
Yeah.
Like and this has a really versatile cast too. Like back before it was, there was a lot of demand for people to have like black voice actors doing black characters. The show was doing it, which is cool. But what was I saying?
But the basketball players definitely aren't voice actors.
Yeah, like there's some very bad voice acting. Like Shaq was the worst of the worst voice actors. Like, and he called himself a real actor at one point. Like
yeah.
I was in that movie called Kazam or Steel.
Oh God! Don't remind me of Steel. What's wrong with you?
Oh, God, that one breaks my heart because I love that character.
It was I had those
John
comics.
Irons. Like he's an awesome character.
Yeah.
Like he becomes a superhero because he wants to do the right thing, not because of some tragic story. And and he idolized Superman, and it just man, don't remind me of that. Don't remind me Shaq on that character.
Oh God, yeah.
Anyway, where was I? So, yeah. They had a lot of celebrity voice actors, and they just weren't good. But then there were a lot of guest voice actors, like I said, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, John DiMaggio. Like so they had real talent in the show, and then you're taken out of it immediately. Like Shaq starts talking, or Little Romeo starts talking, or inexplicably, I don't understand why they turned Karl Malone and other basketball players into a group of superheroes. The fuck? It seemed like they said that and like, we'll be in your show, but you got to turn us into heroes.
Oi.
Yeah.
That shit never works out. So what are you giving Static Shock, Breakman?
And another thing Static Shock does that I think is pretty unique for a superhero cartoon is he gets a partner in the second season, and him and the partner are kind of on the same wavelength, Like there's never really that much bickering between the two of them. And, they're the best of friends. Usually when you see superheroes teaming up, there's lots of bickering and they don't get along all the time and stuff like that. No, these two already were friends.
Yeah, i.e.
They
Batman
immediately
and
click.
Batman and anybody.
Yeah, but like especially Batman and Superman,
Batman,
They
Superman
just,
for
that's
sure.
ice and fire right there.
Right.
But so
From what I can tell, the comic version of him is like really OP, and the show, it doesn't seem like the show gets that far enough to let you see what he's really capable of.
well, they actually go to a future at one point, and he meets future Batman. Batman Beyond. Yeah, I forget his fucking name right now. Terry McGinnis.
All I know is like apparently like he can get his limbs cut off and he can regenerate them because his body's basically energy now.
Well, he goes into the future and meets his future self, and like apparently like he is one of the most powerful superheroes of the day.
Yeah. Static Shock. I remember reading Static Shock, man. It's a good comic. Yeah.
So I like the cartoon. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's above average. That's well above
I
average.
think it's in the same vein as the Superman and the Batman animated series. And like I said, it actually ends one of the threads that was started in the Superman.
Huh.
And when Eric gets to it, I'll mention it.
All right. We are moving on to Eric's review of Superman the Animated Series.
So yeah, this is the beginning of the Dini-verse of the original DC slate of animation shows that would go on until DC decided to do a bunch of one-off movies based on various things. And it's also around the same time that Batman Season 3 happened. Because it's got an art direction that's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And once Batman actually shows up in Season 2, or maybe it was Season 1, like towards the middle of Season... No, it was Season 2. It's like right in the middle of Season 2. It's called... It was basically originally billed as a movie, but I think that then they reworked it into the show, so it was just a 3-parter.
Episode. Or a 3-parter?
Yeah. But, so the first season is like 13 episodes long, so it's not a very long season. And it's a lot of random stuff happening, mainly just to establish many of the villains Superman would face throughout seasons 2 and 3. Because the most often used villain, other than Lex, would be Metallo and Brainiac.
Mm.
And you get to see a bunch of other weird villains, like the Weather Wizard in the episode Flash. The origins of the
Flash villain.
Yeah. He showed up in one Superman episode, though. And I think at this point, the Flash that we see in the Superman episode is still Wally.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Because they don't even show us Barry at all.
Yeah. He's never mentioned in that universe, so I think it's just...
neither is Hal Jordan, but Hal Jordan's only referenced by his previous port of call where he was a colonel.
But there was the one episode where they, in the Justice League, where they go through time and Stewart's replaced by Hal Jordan, and Batman's confused, like, who the hell are you? And he's like, Hal Jordan, I'm up to date, Oh, okay.
I'm Hal Jordan. Okay, now we're good.
Pretty much. But, so there's a thread in Superman where Toyman creates his own girlfriend, essentially.
Yeah.
They end that thread in Static Shock. She poses as somebody and decides that she wants to be real. Like, she comes back as a villain this time. And yeah, and I won't spoil what happens, but...
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But, like, some things in the show don't make sense. Like, in Season 2, we learn about a volcano, and at the end of the episode where she's introduced, you think that she had reformed, but then several episodes later in, like, Season 3, she's a villain again for some reason.
Yeah, they did that with Catwoman in Batman Animated Series. I don't know what the hell they think sometimes, like, when they're writing these episodes.
Yeah. It's like
Catwoman is fluid.
I can understand you did this, but you never bothered to explain how you got to this point.
Yeah.
But isn't
in like an episode future episode where they could have done backstory.
Isn't Catwoman kind of fluid between being a villain and?
Well, no. What I mean is, there was one episode of several episodes when you first meet her, like Batman and her.
See, I wouldn't call Catwoman a villain. I call her a narcoleptic. She can't.
She's considered an anti-hero now, but so anyway, her and Bruce, they hit it off, and eventually he talks her into start going. She turns herself in, goes to jail, and they start the redemption arc. And then there's an episode where she's suddenly stealing again, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess she turned bad, and they didn't explain it. But then they go to another episode where she is still reformed.
Got you.
And then goes bad.
I hate that shit.
So they had it was like the episodes were out of order.
Yeah, the air dates of the episodes were out of order, so they kept it the same when they put it on HBO Max, because I don't think they had any real specific order they were supposed to be airing in.
Got you. So what are you giving?
But they didn't try to line it up.
And it makes no sense. You're watching it like, what?
Yeah. What are you giving Superman animated?
Superman doesn't have a lot of that, but I think season 2 is the strongest because there's the most amount of episodes, so there's room for two-parters and such, and better direct continuity because most episodes just feel standalone. And also, it's season 3 introduces us to Aquaman, and I can't tell if it's the same Aquaman we see in Justice League because he looks radically different. But since we don't see any proof of Aquaman not having a family, it could be, and he just decided to grow out his hair for whatever reason.
All right. So what are you giving Superman animated series, Eric?
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
All right. Fairly high praise. Freak5 says Dolphins on X during spring break in Florida. Breakman horse on heroin being rode by a naked. So like Lady Godiva. I'm down.
Sure.
I'm down for that, man. Sweet. Is that true? Batman banged Lois Lane?
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they did that.
Yeah.
No wonder Superman hates Batman.
He dated Lois for a while, and at the end of the World's Finest 3-parter, they broke up because she found out he was Batman. She didn't want to date such a dangerous dude.
Yeah, but there was an episode when she thought it was Bruce, where you can see them like clearly in the bedroom, like getting out like the next morning.
Wow. No wonder Superman
Bruce
and Batman
Wayne banged Lois Lane in the Superman cartoon.
Wow. Okay, that's news to me.
I wonder if Batman was getting over Selena at that point.
Probably.
It's interesting too when they do Batman Beyond and Bruce is looking back at the women of his life. Lois Lane is in the list.
Wow.
Like, Catwoman, Talia, and Lois Lane all show up, and I think, and maybe the woman from the Phantom, Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh God, that's a pretty good movie, man. I forgot about that movie. All right, let me move on to mine. I'll do mine real quick. I got 3 reviews. The first one is a series on Netflix called Japanese Tales of the Macabre. It's pretty fucking awesome. It's if you can imagine like a Japanese animated Twilight Zone. That's what this is. These tales are not linked together. They're completely. It's an anthology of sorts.
Well, if you like the show, then you read the manga first, you'd probably be disappointed in it based on what I've seen from other people.
Yeah, I didn't read the manga, but I'm actually really happy with the series. I think it's kind of creepy at times. It's not like over the top. It's just like Twilight Zone. Like it just gives you just enough to like get your imagination going. There's a couple of standout episodes in it. I highly recommend it. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I think it's really good. It's on Netflix. Yeah, the next one I'm going to review is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but the 4K version. Now, I know I've talked about the Blu-ray that was scanned from a 4K. Very little differences here other than the bonus disc. Add some more documentaries. It's great. I mean, there's still a little bit of graininess, even though it is 4K, but you got to understand it's a 45-year-old movie. So, you're not gonna get perfect
They
clarity.
cleaned up as much as they could, probably.
Yeah, it's cleaned up as much as that. I mean, the only thing that's going to be better, I'm guessing, is when 8K comes out, and 8K is the ultimate. That's as much as the eye can tell a difference. So I'm actually anticipating 8K, but 4K is really, really good. Highly recommended. It's a 9 out of 10. Easy recommendation for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4K. All-time classic. I don't have to get into the grit of the movie because everybody knows what this movie's about. Just awesomeness. The last movie I'm going to talk about is called The Hike. Basically about a group of really hot women taking a hike. Not a lot of character development with these ladies, which I kind of like in these type of movies. Like, you just get straight to what's going on. So they're taking a hike and they run into some nefarious men on the hike, and things go south from there. But this movie is notable because it has a wicked twist that I didn't even see coming, and I can usually call twist from probably the first 10-15 minutes of a movie. But this one was really surprising, really well executed, and it's hard to find movies like that nowadays, so I highly recommend this movie as well. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. The twist is just wicked in this movie. But it's pretty standard, standard fare for this type of movie, but the twist is really where it's at in this movie. So The Hike is definitely awesome. And unexpected. You won't see the ending coming, trust me. So that's about it. Let's move on to everybody's favorite segment.
What is it?
Stinko of the week.
Skodoma says, I thought the same thing with Black Phone. I'm usually really good at telling what's going to happen. Yeah, same here, Skodoma. I mean, when Sixth Sense came out, I easily called that shit from like the first 20 minutes. All right, let's move on to our Stinkos. Brakeman, let's start with you.
Okay, first we'll go to Walgreens, who has preemptively decided to stop selling abortion medicine in any state that's, currently fighting to have abortion outlawed in the courts.
Yeah.
Just off the threat alone, they've said, okay, we won't do it.
I actually don't blame them, Brakeman. I really don't in those states. But
I understand, from a corporate perspective, them doing it and shit like that, but still fuck them for doing it.
Yeah, I know. It's disappointing, but
they're a corporation. They should be able to do it if they want, right?
That's true.
That's what Republicans convinced everybody, and then they changed their mind. It's, no, we want them to do what we want them to do. Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Speaking of Republicans, them and especially Joe Manchin are the biggest fucking liars on the fucking planet.
Why you say that?
What did we spend all of 2020 complaining about or arguing about? The filibuster, I believe it was.
Yeah, filibuster. Ugh.
Well, there is a workaround to the filibuster that Joe Manchin and the Republicans all are using right now to veto something that Biden's doing. And my stinko isn't to them vetoing it. My stinko is to them they're fucking lying hypocrites. They fought and said the filibuster, we can't touch it. It's the most important thing ever. But when they want to go around it, they go around it.
Well, there's always a way around everything in politics, apparently. Brakeman, fuck them all. Yeah. I can't stand any politician, man.
Back doors, side doors, front doors.
Yeah,
but
fuckers.
Joe Manchin, remember all the power he was given in this?
Yep.
God. And we can't touch the filibuster. It's too important. You're a lying sack of shit, Manchin.
Yeah, Manchin is a piece of shit. Can't stand that piece of shit.
Democrat, I don't fucking care. I don't have
a stinko on my list, but I do have one for you guys, so don't skip me.
Okay.
The other one goes to what have most of my stinkos been towards? Right.
Politicians and most probably one politician in general. But,
politicians, but this isn't something else out of politics.
Oh, guns, mass shootings, stuff of that nature.
Kind of the police.
Yeah, well, that's an all-time.
The police. There was a 60-year-old woman who was having a medical emergency. Well, she was at the hospital, and the hospital was forcing her out. she didn't feel well. She still wanted to stay, but the hospital was like, I guess she'd already been there and her insurance had already, like hit the limits. So they're like, go, we don't want you anymore. You're not paying us, which is America. Fucking awesome. They did the same shit to my dad. Anyway, so she was kicked out and they called the police because she didn't want to leave. And the police were like, at first they were really nice to her and they're trying to like, see what was wrong and stuff like that. And then at one point they're like, well, you're gonna have to go. And they tried to force her into the cop car. And that's when things started to go bad for her. She started complaining like things were wrong. Like she didn't feel well. And she felt like she might have been having a stroke again, which is why she was in the hospital in the first place. At which point, the police started mocking her and harassing her and just calling her a liar and faking it as she's begging for her life.
I know how this ends, even though I haven't seen this video. She probably died, right, Break? Did we lose you? Oh, I think we lost Break. Darn it. Hang in there, guys. We're reconnecting. Fucking internet. That's how it is. But trying to get a hold of these guys right now. I mean, the internet's back up and running, but let's call them again. Let's see. Let's join this call. Let's try again. Jesus.
Hello?
Yes. Sorry, guys. That was my bad. So let me guess the end of this story. She got killed.
Well, she was forced in the cop car while she was having her stroke, and at one point, and before they're really even out of the parking lot, she's not responding. I don't know if she's faking or not. The one cop said, and pulled over to check on her, and she was dead.
Yeah.
Because she was going through a medical emergency the whole time, and the cops were literally making fun of her and just going on her. Like, it just, as this woman was just out of the fucking hospital.
Does this surprise you in any shape,
No.
form, or fashion, Breakman?
No, it absolutely doesn't.
Okay.
I'm just pointing it out to everybody, so I want to make sure everybody understands how pieces of shit the police are.
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about defunding the police, Breakman, I don't see the problem with it. I mean, there have been several places where they've tried working without the police, and it's worked pretty good. I know people think that we would be thrown into utter chaos, and I just don't believe that. I think we should.
I think if we start addressing the problems that we have, if we don't address the mental health problems, I don't think there's anything that'll ever change.
I agree.
If we start addressing the mental health problems, we could absolutely get rid of the police.
Yeah, I agree. Scotoma says that wouldn't happen if they were held accountable for their actions. I mean that too, Scotoma. I mean, I
believe these cops were sent home on paid leave. Given a free vacation.
Oh, yeah.
All cops when they kill somebody.
Oh yeah, and they always do that.
I mean, whatever profession gives you a paid holiday vacation for murdering somebody.
Yeah. Scotoma says, I don't see a solution in defunding. I do, Scotoma, because these guys are paid way too much.
Well,
and
it's a lie anyways, because, I mean, Republicans are saying, look, Democrats are going to defund. Well, why are they spending billions on police? They're not defunding anything. They're spending more money.
Right. And it's
from the start.
Look, I just got done getting information on a sergeant who hasn't been working with the police department in Aurora very long. He's making $141,000 base pay. Does not count overtime, does not count any. You think a sergeant who's sitting at a desk is worth $141,000? It's fucking ridiculous. It's utterly ludicrous to think that the police are worth that much. They are not at all. And defunding is not as bad as what people think. I think you get rid of half of the police force, and I think we'll be just fine.
The problem I have with when people say we can't defund the police, we gotta spend more money. That's the strategy we've used for a very long time. It hasn't worked. Why should we keep doing the same strategy? Shouldn't we try something different?
Mm-hmm.
The cops have gotten worse, not better. The more money they've gotten worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe it's time to start cutting their budgets instead of giving them more money.
Yeah, I agree.
The government's so quick to cut the budgets of schools.
Yeah, and we've
most
never cut the
important-
police budget. We never cut it.
They
And
give them
it's
more
some
money all the time.
Yeah, we do all the time. They're always given more money and nothing ever changes. So, it's just terrible. All right, anything else?
How much crime do they solve again, Frank? I forget.
2% nationwide. They solve 2%. Any other industry, let's say your store was 2% efficient, do you think you'd still have a job there? Do you think your insurance would still, like your insurance job, you would still have a job if you did 2% of your job, Brakeman?
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Reallocate. No, defund and reallocate, Scotoma. I mean, I'm sick of the police, and everybody else is too. It's not just a me thing. It's not. I mean, this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, and like I said, it's getting worse with the police interaction. Like, it's not getting better.
Let me tell you guys a quick story about police, right? I'm working on a story, right? And if I can find a second, like a corroborating witness, I can break a huge story in Aurora. Their hiring practices are shitty. There's a police officer, and if there's one, there's way more, that was put through even though he cheated on his test. The way that he cheated was he had his wife do it, and not only did his wife do it, his wife copied off of another officer. And that's how they caught him, because she word for worded the entrance exam. And they still let him go through because they said they had a shortage, such a shortage that, they got him in the office and they were like, you did bad here, but we're going to let you through. You see? I mean, that's how things work there. They're corrupt as fuck. So,
Well, look at just the FBI stats of how badly the police force around this country has been infiltrated by white nationalism.
Yeah. Well,
like these people are supposedly vetted out of it. We don't hire racists and stuff like that. We make sure we don't, but you are.
You focus on the negative, and it's just going to be negative. Well, what positive have you seen, Scotoma? I mean, I haven't seen any. I mean, honestly, I'm on the street. I'm on street level here, and every interaction I can't say every. I'd say 98, 99% of my interactions have been pretty shitty, up to and including not even dealing with the police, getting records, trying to understand different laws that they break all the time. I mean, what is actually good about what they do? Have they done anything in your neighborhood to prove that they're good to you, Scotoma? I mean, I'd like to hear it, because the bad definitely outweighs the good. And when you've got officers standing around letting other officers do bad things, that makes them bad too. So this whole thing about there's only some bad apples, well, those bad apples make all the rest bad too. So it's just one thing after another with them. I mean, the other day I was shocked. I had a good interaction with police officers in Aurora. I was like, holy fuck, that was the first time that happened in years. So,
I usually have pretty good interactions with the cops, but for the most part, if I'm out in public. But like the whole incident that happened last year was complete and utter bullshit.
Well, here's the distinction, Brakeman. You can have good interactions. I've had good interactions with police, but what you don't know could kill you, right, Brakeman? So how many of those officers that you've had good interactions with have been at a crime scene or somewhere out and about in public and have watched other officers do bad work and haven't called the officers on it? You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, you can. I'm not saying you can't have.
I'll say they were really nice when they threw me in the back of the cop car. When they cuffed me and threw me in the back, they were really nice.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I've had personal interactions that went way better than expected. Yeah, so have I, Scotoma. I mean, anybody can say that, right? They've had a good interaction with the police officer, but what does that mean? It means you had your good interaction with the police officer. That's it. That's all it means.
It just means that they didn't feel like being an asshole to you that day.
Yeah.
That moment in time.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Eric, your stinko of the week.
Wait, I'll tell you what. I had a cop pull me over one time. It was like 7 in the morning, and he was just the most cheery, happy guy ever. Like, hi, how are you doing? Stuff like that. And I'm just glaring at him, like, oh, good. Okay.
I was doing good until you pulled me over.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, it was fine, and some dick pulled me over.
Yep, pretty good until you pulled me over. Fuckface. Anyways. All right, Eric, what you got?
This one's a 3 or rather 2.5-ish. I just found this tweet here, but in case you want a source, it's from KKTV 11 News, where a 31-year-old woman in Colorado won't get jail time for raping a 13-year-old child and becoming pregnant with his child, or her child. They got a typo here. Andrea Serrano took a plea deal to avoid jail. The district attorney lowered her original charges, so now this rapist will have custody of the young boy's baby. So it's not only this piece of shit woman who raped a 13-year-old boy, but also the entire Fountain justice system is garbage.
Fountain, Colorado is a shitty fucking place. It's south of Colorado Springs.
There's a huge double standard when it comes to like women raping boys. And
also, I'm also giving KKTV 11 News that reported this story Stanko too, because why is it that they can't put Colorado woman raped a 13-year-old child? Why do they have to put having sex in there instead? That's bullshit. Call it for what it is.
Rape. Right. Raping. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Cop told my dad, if you can tell me why I pulled you over, I will let you off. Freak fight. What the fuck, man? Jesus Christ. Because I'm black? How about that? That's what I would have said. Anyways. All right. What else, Eric? Anything else?
Nope, that's it. That's fine. Stay cool.
Right on. Mine is just a quick hitter. I think I've mentioned this before, but my niece is a piece of shit. I don't want to get into it. It's kind of personal, but she just sucks. Let's move on to Happier Trails.
Dude, what does my tattoo say?
Sweet of the week.
It's pretty awesome that your dad got away with that, Freak 5. Pretty cool. All right, Sweeto of the week, Breakman, what you got?
My Sweeto goes to Freak's dad getting away with that.
Yeah, I know. You told him he was probably speeding and not wearing a seatbelt, and he let him go. That's pretty awesome, man. That's lucky. Is that it, Break?
I've never had cops let me go. I've got a lot of tickets.
Yeah, I've never had a cop let me go, man. But I haven't been pulled over that much. I mean, I think the last time was, 4 years ago, Bernie?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years ago. All right. Eric, did you have a Sweeto?
I didn't list it, but I get my car back on Monday, hopefully.
Ooh, awesome. That's good news.
I say hopefully because they haven't called me back to say they need more time, so I'm guessing it's going to be done by then.
Hopefully. Damn. All right. My Sweeto is, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, and if I did, I don't care. It's still a great Sweeto. Bernie's a general manager now. So,
nice.
Yeah.
You did. Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Well, shit.
Well,
Sucks.
I mean, it's a Sweeto.
Yeah, it is a Sweeto. All right. Let's move on to the free-for-all. That's Skotima's favorite. Suck it. All right. Before we move on to the tourney this week, Eric had something that he wanted to talk about. I think it's a great topic. Eric, what you got?
Anyways, Yoshi P said recently that I want to pull up an article here just to help me out a little bit, gather my thoughts. But basically, it came down to him saying he didn't want Final Fantasy 16 being labeled as a JRPG because for a long period of time, especially I think specifically in the middle to late aughts of 2005 to around, no, even beyond 2013, there's been a negative sentiment around JRPGs as a genre. And how it's basically become a shorthand for RPGs being made from Japanese development teams are anime trash. and
yeah.
and the negative sentiment that comes from that. But there's other layers to this I want to talk about. I mean, yeah, Yoshi P said this and he has a point, but I also realize that that the bending over backwards of explanations for why the game has to be an action RPG and the lack of diversity that's being included in the game, or rather not being included in the game, and the reasonings behind that were bullshit. So it feels more like he's using these facts as a deflection from the criticism of his game, because it's like, don't call my game a JRPG because I want it to be taken seriously, and I'm
You know, way back in the day, it was kind of it was exotic, and everybody flocked to JRPGs because it was, oh, the Japanese made this RPG and this is great, right? It's totally different than anything else. And now there's a negative stigma attached to JRPGs, which I don't understand, because without JRPGs, there pretty much isn't going to be any RPGs in video gamedom. I mean, I know D&D is the the basis for any RPG, whether it be JRPG or RPG, Western RPGs. But I don't understand the negativity surrounding JRPGs. They're great. I mean, if you don't like the anime aspect of it, then you just don't like anime, and that's cool. Then
I only brought up him using these facts as deflection because some of the biggest criticisms of the game, like I mentioned, the lack of diversity, but also most recently I found out that based on the preview that was being held somewhere, the accessibility options are kind of not great because basically they've done it in the most fucktard, stupid way possible, where you basically equip these rings as accessories. But the problem is they take up an accessory slot that would otherwise be used to boost your stats. So you shouldn't have to sacrifice an accessory slot just to have an accessibility option.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I saw that too. Yoshi P's usually on point on Twitter, but yeah, I'm with you, Eric, on this one. Freak5 says his stinko is his company gave them free lunch for employee appreciation. Let's see. Night shift inventory knows how appreciated we are, so we went to lunch early because the food would have been put away at the time we normally go to work. Yeah.
But I wanted to have a bigger conversation about like the Orientalism that's been like basically haunting things like any kind of Japanese media, really.
Okay, we can have that,
and how they relates to the JRPG specifically, and,
all right,
and how communities has just been weird about it.
Okay, let me finish this, and then we'll get to that. Part of the appreciation, 7 or 8 drawings for gift cards. So out of the hundreds of employees, only a tiny fraction get a gift to show appreciation. While the techs are getting that retention bonus, but techs can also win these drawings. That is shitty, Freak5. My sweeto, I got a new car. All I can say to your stinko, Freak5, I mean, life isn't fair, bro. You know, my sweeto, I got a new car on Monday, a 2018 Kia Optima. That's pretty cool. Have you heard the news? Have you heard about the new fad with teens? I have not. Scotoma Sweeto, I caught the police live show. Oh, awesome. That's cool.
You mean your live show?
Not mine. Police the Police. They are dipping their testicles into glitter. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. Okay. I guess that's a sweeto. All right. Back to your conversation, Eric. What did you want to say?
Well, I like, as far as like people
it's pretty nuts.
JRPG's a bad rap. I can recall back like as early as the G4 TV days, where a lot of the programming, even X-Play wasn't, free from this because they poke fun at the idea, even though like games would be reviewed and they'd usually be given fair scores. It's like they couldn't help themselves. And then I remember like conversations on listening to like various shows on all games, especially DPL.
Yeah. Well, I battled DPL for a long time.
Like Derek was complaining how about all these games are about kids doing stuff with like that. Maybe you haven't realized it, but there's a large audience that would play this game that would be in that target audience. So making the characters in those games those ages makes sense. Plus, it is kind of a power fantasy.
Well,
for that target audience.
I mean, Eric, you
rebelling against the adults because the adults are all useless, so why not?
You know the battles that RPGrinders has had with Derek, so it's it grew pretty legendary.
About how it wasn't realistic, kids. You realize you're playing a video game that's a fictional setting, right?
right. So,
and why not? It's like maybe the ideal is that children become respected enough that they can actually get responsible and capable enough to pull off certain things that other people wouldn't do.
Yeah, I'm looking at Freak 5's car. It's pretty awesome. It's blue.
I don't see how it's any different than like pretending they're a military guy or in a shoot man game or whatever.
Yeah. Nice looking vehicle. Freak 5. The Optimas, like the newer Optimas, are the only Kias that I like. I'm not a huge Kia fan, but the Optimas are pretty nice for sure. So, yeah. All right. Anything else you got, Eric?
Not really.
All right. Let's move on to our tournament this week, which is Worst Movie to Video Game Adaptation. Break, take it away.
There are a lot of Nintendo games on here. In fact, there are so many that they are in every single category. I'm just going to go ahead and start at the beginning with the game that's considered one of the worst of all time, E.T. on the Atari. It's going up against The Untouchables for the NES. E.T. is obviously the legendary bad game. Untouchables was just a bad adaptation of a pretty good movie. Most Nintendo games just weren't equipped for what they wanted to do with the game. Untouchables is no exception to that. Frank, you can start this off.
All right, this is an easy one for me. E.T. is one of the worst games of all time. I can't tell you how much fucking time I spent trying to get E.T. out of a fucking pit.
There's nothing in a game more infuriating. There's never been a game, an invent in any game more infuriating to try and get E.T. out.
So hard to get out of the fucking pits, man.
Hey, Frank, I noticed you have Home Alone 1 and 2 on this list, but what about like Home Alone for Game Boy, which is a completely different game?
I could only fit 64 games.
Yeah.
I'm going with the E.T.
Might as well just include all the Home Alone games.
I
was thinking about doing that. I guess I could have but oh well, I didn't.
The Dragon Pack was a scam, Freak 5? That sucks, man.
So what do you want, Eric?
I'm going with Untouchables, because the ET at least has some entertainment value. I saw a Let's Play of the Untouchables. It looked pretty boring as shit.
Yeah, it's got its merits, but it's
The Untouchables is a very boring game. I played an emulator. I think I've played almost all of these games on at least an emulator, the NES versions, I mean. But E.T., that goddamn pit, there is nothing more infuriating than that fucking pit. And you have to go down in them to find the pieces.
Yep. It's the worst fucking thing, man. I'm telling you. E.T. is shit personified.
But it does have one good thing going for it. Unlike most Atari games, you have to beat that game.
E.T. is a brown-looking blob in the game, so he kind of does look like a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like, it actually has like an ending. Like, you can actually send E.T. home.
If you can fucking get out of the pits to get the fucking pieces.
I know. And you have to set the game like it starts on hard mode, doesn't it? It's preset hard mode. You have to set it lower.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why? Were you planning on making an arcade game to eat your quarters or something, and they just kind of forgot to hit the dip switch?
Oh god!
No, it was made in the game was made in like less than 2 weeks, I think, or a month.
Yeah.
Like I'm not kidding. Like the guy made Yard's Revenge. He had a limited amount of time to build the game, so I'm pretty sure it just happened to time. He just didn't have time to do it.
Yeah.
He probably saw it like, shit, I don't have time.
Maybe the second loop was supposed to be hard mode or something.
Who knows? Anyway, So I get left up to it, and then ET is the one I choose because I hate the fucking pit. Even though, as I said, Untouchables is boring. Next we have Real Steel for the Xbox, that Hugh Jackman boxing robot movie, versus Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, where you're a bad rendition of Little Kevin trying to stop the burglars with micro machines and shit. That it is a fun concept, but it wasn't implemented well at all.
Something tells me the Real Steel video game is still probably better than the movie, though.
The movie wasn't terrible.
I don't know. I've never seen either. I've never seen that, and I never played the game. Eric, you get to go first.
I think Home Alone's the worst game.
Right?
Both of them.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Home Alone 1 and 2 were fucking awful, man.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I've never played Real Steel, but it's hard for me to imagine a game worse than some of these NES games on here. Next, we have Independence Day for the PlayStation 1 versus the Terminator for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I am going to start this one out. I played Terminator for a little bit, but I rented Independence Day a long time ago, and I'm pretty sure I wanted to break the disc. It was such a stupid fucking game. I'm going with Independence Day. Frank, what do you want?
I'm in full agreement. There were, even though Terminator isn't great for the NES, did have a couple of nifty moments in it. Independence Day is one of the worst games ever. Period. It fucking blew. I agree with you. I wanted to break that fucking disc too. Independence Day for me.
But I spent money renting it, so I couldn't break it or didn't have to buy it. It's like, fuck, I don't want to buy that. I can't have my money going to that. So what do you want, Eric?
I'm just gonna vote for the Terminator.
All right. Well, Independence Day moves on. Next we have Star Wars Episode 1 for the PlayStation 1. It's muddy graphics, slow load times, just bad gameplay all around, versus Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. To me, Back to the Future 2 and 3 are the worst fucking ports of any game out. I just work, not ports, and not the word I'm looking for. Representation, just worst. You can start, Frank.
If you want to play good Back to the Future, play Super Back to the Future 2 for the Super Famicom. It was only ever released in Japan.
This is close for me.
I think there is a fan translation for it.
This is close for me, but I think Back to the Future, since you lumped all those in, 2 and 3 were, oh boy.
I shouldn't have lumped them all together. I was thinking about that.
That's okay. Sometimes you have to do that.
There are just so many Nintendo games. There's so many.
Yeah, Back to the Future has to move on here, even though Star Wars.
Back to the Future 2 is a shitty platformer, and if you play long enough to get to 3, it's like a shitty gallery shooter game.
It's Episode 1 of Star Wars is epically bad too, but Back to the Future for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. What about you, Eric?
I'm going with Back to the Future 2 and 3.
We all agree on that one. Back to the Future moves on. Next we have Back to the Star Wars Episode 6 for the Atari 2600. That's Return of the Jedi for you dumbasses. I'm just kidding. I'm not calling anybody a dumbass. I'm sorry. Sorry. Don't hurt me. Anyways, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, versus the Blues Brothers for the NES. I've only seen video of the Star Wars on Atari, and just the Atari games in general are shit. And you look, they're blocks moving across the screen, and 64 color limited, Where Blues Brothers was this really bad platforming game that actually played pretty good versions of their music in 8-bit form. I remember there's a pretty good version of what was that? Why Can't We Be Friends? I think was on there. Mm-hmm. The game actually had a pretty decent soundtrack, besides being terrible to play. And unfortunately, I owned that one. Unfortunately, since I owned it, I am going ahead and I'm gonna vote for Blues Brothers. I had the unfortunate travesty of owning it. Eric, you're next.
I'm voting for Blues Brothers.
Frank,
I would vote for Star Wars Episode 6 because I had that game at one point, and wished I didn't.
Yeah, that's
So
how I
bad.
feel about Blues Brothers.
Oh, wait, they called it Episode 6, not Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Well,
It's
no,
fine.
it was Return of the Jedi, but
Yeah, it was,
Blues Brothers
I
moves
called
on.
it that because I
I had at least some fun with Empire Strikes Back.
Hmm.
Playing as and on the Battle of Hoth and getting rid of the 8.
Well, that was on what, the Super Nintendo, Eric?
no, I'm sorry.
Oh, you played it on Atari? There was no fun to be had with that game, man. Return of the Jedi.
I didn't play it.
I didn't play Return of the Jedi in the Atari, so compared to that, it's probably better at least.
I've only seen video of any of them. I've never played any of the Atari. I had an Atari, but I did not play the Star Wars Atari games. Next,
I didn't really play it either. I watched somebody else play it, but it didn't seem very fun. Yeah.
no, they didn't seem fun at all. They're like I said, ugly as fuck. Next, we have Batman Forever for the Game Boy versus Jurassic Park for the NES. I vaguely remember Jurassic Park. Batman Forever was just a bad game on any system.
Isn't the Jurassic Park on Game Boy just a port of the NES game?
No, it's actually worse. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of a different game. I'm thinking of Godzilla. Never mind. The Game Boy and Jurassic Park. I don't remember. I don't actually remember.
There was a Game Boy Batman Forever. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I was looking for the worst.
So was it based on the Super Nintendo game and the Genesis game?
I don't know. I just it might have been. It was just it came out apparently for every system at the time.
Oh.
Just like a lot of games did, and I just picked the worst of the worst. Dude, that had the worst reviews. So you can start.
Every version of Batman Forever is terrible, though.
Right. So I picked out the worst of the worst.
I don't even think I've ever seen the Game Boy one gameplay.
I didn't see it. Yeah.
So I'm voting for the game I'm familiar with, which is Jurassic Park for the NES. It's terrible.
It is a terrible game.
Yeah,
Frank?
I'm going to go with Batman Forever here because at least the Jurassic Park music was okay on the NES. Batman Forever on the Game Boy was ass. So, yeah, Batman Forever.
I vaguely remember Jurassic Park, but I do remember playing Batman Forever on the Super Nintendo and hating it. If they put it on Game Boy, it has to be a lot worse.
Well, the Nintendo version of Jurassic Park was more straightforward because, like, you just ran around and shot things mainly. Yeah. And the SNES version is more of a collectathon where you have to collect the eggs.
I like the Genesis version. That was my favorite because you get to play the raptor.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I like the Genesis and the Super Nintendo versions. They're completely different games, sort of like what that cyberpunk game.
Skodoma says ass.
The only really, really bad thing about the SNES Jurassic Park is the Mode 7 graphics in the dark buildings you have to go in to collect key cards are so fucking pixely you can't see shit.
Yeah, that's why another game's on.
And your night vision goggles need batteries, so you have to like buy your time or plan out your route, which can be hard because the map system is garbage.
Yeah, they are. Next, we have Bad Boys Miami for the PlayStation 2. I'd never played it, but this is pretty much on everybody's list of top 10 worst games. So I had to put it on there. There's a few games I put on here just because they were really like high up as universally hated games. Apparently, this has bad like hit detection, gameplay. Like everything's just bad in this game. Versus Darkman for the NES, which was a great fucking movie. And terrible adaptation on NES. Again, just they try to do stuff that this NES is just not powerful enough, so it just turns into a generic punching game, pretty much.
Yeah.
I am going to start this one out. From what I read about Bad Boys Miami, even though I played Darkman, I'm going to go Bad Boys Miami. Like, it sounded like a complete mess, just it's not fun at all. Frank, you can go next.
Darkman wasn't quite as bad as what I remember it. I watched a playthrough of Darkman. I remember it being bad, and it's definitely a bad game, but it's okay, I got Bad Boys Miami. Check this out. It was at I think it was at GameStop when the PlayStation 2 was like kind of going out of business, and they were getting rid of all, how they put all their loose games in like these little, paper kind of
Yeah.
holders, and I got it for 50 cents. I thought it was a good deal, and then I played it for about 10 minutes, and I was like, I wish I could get my 50 cents back.
Damn.
And the only reason I got it is because the disc was in perfect mint condition, and I have to say, Bad Boys Miami is just fucking awful, man. Street Fighter the movie was such a disappointment. It reminded me of Pit Fighter. Sucks so bad. Yeah, that was another bad one, man. But yeah, for me, it's Bad Boys. Eric?
I gotta interrupt you first, but I got a homie discount for you guys.
All right, go ahead.
Does $20 for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge sound good?
That's
Yeah,
not
that sounds
terrible.
pretty-
That sounds
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
how it is on the eShop right now.
Oh, okay.
I'd still wait, and maybe I'd get down to $10 at some point, maybe like Christmas this year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're an early adopter, that's a great price. If you're like me, a cheapo, then yeah, just. So what are you doing, Darkman or Bad Boys, Eric?
I never played Bad Boys, and I never played Darkman, but I watched the Let's Play of Darkman, and it looked awful and dog shit. So fucking ready for Darkman.
All right.
Speaking
Moving
of games I never played, Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix, because I knew there were a ton of Harry Potter games. I looked for the worst one, and apparently this was the worst of them. So Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix for Nintendo DS versus, and I know you guys hate this game, Hudson Hawk for the NES.
Oh my. Oh my.
Right? Start this
I'm voting for Hudson Hawk, because fuck Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk, man. I mean, Harry Potter's an awful game on the DS, but Hudson Hawk is an all-timer, man. It's so bad. It's just really bad.
I was going to vote for Harry Potter just because I don't like Harry Potter, but I've never seen Hudson Hawk.
But that'd be biased, so I won't vote for it based on that.
Oh,
I just know that Hudson Hawk's the worst game.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Hudson Hawk moves on. Somebody just mentioned it. Street Fighter the movie for the arcade versus Dick Tracy on NES. The arcade by me had Street Fighter the movie, and they turned up the speed on it, and it was actually a fun game in the arcade, the version that I played. So I bought it for the Saturn, and then I played it the way it was meant to be played. And regretted it to this day. Versus Dick Tracy, which
The Dick Tracy on the Genesis is actually kind of fun.
Dick Tracy was kind of a fun cartoon back in the old days. Like, he had that wristwatch, which is, I mean, now you can easily do the wristwatch thing. Wristwatch communicator. I mean,
Yeah,
you get an iPhone and.
Hey guys, you guys continue. If there's any games or matches that need a tiebreaker, I'll continue, but I have to use the restroom again, man.
Well, how about we use the chatters to break ties? I don't know.
That'll work.
Start
Use the
typing this
chatters.
website.
Use the chatters. I'll be back.
Okay. Eric, Street Fighter or Dick Tracy?
I'll vote for Dick Tracy. Just because there's some way to make Street Fighter the movie more palatable.
Yeah, it's true. Like, if you turn up the speed on it and you do some setting adjustments, it is a lot more like the original. It's still like a badly skinned version of the original. When I say the original, I mean Street Fighter. There's Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But yeah, like, I owned it, and I was so upset when I got home, and just like, it was not what I thought. Like, this isn't the game I played. But you changed, like you said, change some settings that could be somewhat fun. But and I mentioned it before. Like, there's a character that was supposed to be in the movie that wasn't in the movie, but he's like in the game. So there's a character that's completely unassociated with Street Fighter in any way that's in the game. His name is Blade, I think. I'm voting for Street Fighter, which puts us kind of at odds. What does the chatter say here? Oh, fuck my computer. I can't look. It's not letting me. We can just move on and come back to that one. Next, we have tomorrow, unless you can see the chatters and whether they weighed in on it.
All right. I haven't really seen anything.
Okay.
Other than what Scotum said, he said Dick Tracy wasn't as bad as Street Fighter the movie.
Okay. That sounds like a vote for him for Street Fighter movie. Freak, what about you then?
No Freak, I guess.
Okay, we'll come back to that one, but right now it's Leon Street Fighter. Next, we have Tomorrow Never Dies, which had the unfortunate circumstances of being the exact follow-up to GoldenEye, which was the greatest shooter of its time.
I don't know if you can call it Fallout because like it's made by a completely different development studio.
Right, but it was, when I say follow-up, like it was the sequel to GoldenEye, essentially. Even though it was made by a completely different studio, like that was the next movie, and people were expecting GoldenEye, like the next sequel to GoldenEye. Not only was it not that, it was it wasn't a good game to begin with. It was a bad game.
It was a bad game based on a slightly not great adaptation of a novel.
Yeah. After GoldenEye, like the rest of the Pierce Brosnan and James Bond movies were terrible. Even though I really like him as James Bond, like there were still great moments with him as James Bond, but just some of the storyline, like they had him like driving on ice in his car, doing like stupid flips and shit, and then driving into an ice castle in the last movie. Like, what the fuck is this? Is this a cartoon? Am I watching Batman and Robin again? What the hell's going on? Anyway, so that one's going up against one of the...
I kind of like the campy nature of those films, but like those movies, yeah, it was doing that stuff, but it wasn't doing it with the level of camp you'd expect from like the Bond films.
Yeah, like if they'd gone to like the level of camp, let's say Moonraker, I probably would have been okay with it, but they were still trying to play it like it was serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, you know, what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. So, anyways, this is going up against one of the worst movies I have ever seen. The NES version of Cool World. I think that's one of Brad Pitt's first movies. It's supposed to be like a cartoon, real life hybrid, and it's fucking boring as all hell. And I think a lot of the premise and the reason I was just completely bored is because you're supposed to be like, oh, she's hot, you know, a cartoon character. Well, she's a fucking cartoon character, so I wasn't really, you know, whatever. It was such a stupid movie. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to say Tomorrow Never Dies because I was one of those people, like, you know, loved GoldenEye. We were hoping the next movie was going to be amazing. Next game would be amazing.
Yeah.
Both the next movie and the next game were disappointments. So, what do you want there?
I think Frank's back.
I am back.
Did Freak ever respond?
But I'm going to vote for Cool World.
Cool World? Frank, what do you want? Cool World or Tomorrow Never Dies?
I'm gonna.
The NES Cool World, by the way.
Yeah, NES Cool World versus N64 Tomorrow Never Dies.
This is really tough because they both were ass. Scotoma likes when I say ass. I'm going with. I think I'm gonna go with Cool World at all, even though Tomorrow Never Dies was a highly disappointing, especially on the heels of such a great game in GoldenEye. I'm still going to give the edge to Cool World because it was awful. Hey, did we pick a winner in the Street Fighter, Dick Tracy?
No. We were about to say Street Fighter because Scotoma did it, but we were waiting for Freak's answer too. But
he didn't play either, I don't think. But I'm going to also go with Street Fighter. It's fucking ass.
Yeah, I unfortunately own that game. I still own that game.
Oh, God.
Anyway, next we have... Here's the game I rented. I didn't own it. But Last Action Hero for the Super Nintendo. Fucking awesome movie. The movie is so underrated. Versus Dirty Harry for the NES. Not a good movie, but it's not underrated at all.
Right.
Last Action Hero just... And I was reading about it. Like, the problem with Last Action Hero is it came out the same day as fucking Jurassic Park.
Yep. Yep.
That was the only problem with that movie is it was released on the same day as the goddamn juggernaut Jurassic Park. So anyway, the game is one of the most basic fucking games ever. You walk left to right and you punch and jump.
Yep.
Versus Dirty Harry, which I don't remember how that even game was even played.
You also punch and jump.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start this one. I rented Last Action Hero, and I think I've never been more disappointed in a game because it was so fucking boring.
It was also bullshit, so it was hard to even get through the first level.
Right, it was fucking hard as hell. Now that I think about it,
Dirty Harry at least has some variation in its gameplay, so I'm voting for Last Action Hero.
I guess it does move on. What do you want, Frank?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Last Action Hero was definitely ass.
The movie was not. The movie was awesome.
The movie is great. That's a great point that you make, Breakman. That movie is like underappreciated big time. I love that movie.
Is it
It's good.
streaming anywhere?
That's a good question, Eric. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. You can, if you have a Roku, you can just yell into your remote, and it'll find it for you if it's streaming anywhere.
Yeah, like Last Action Hero is in my top 20 movies. Like,
It's a good movie. It's a good movie for sure. It's not in my top 20, but it's definitely good.
Next, we have Star Wars Episode 2 for the Game Boy Advance versus Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And this is a bit confusing because there was actually 2 versions of this game that were released for the NES for some reason. 2 different developers made this game. I went with the crappy version, the crappier version. Neither one were actually good.
Yeah.
One was better, but I can't remember which developer this one is. My brain was burning at that time. So many bad games had melted it. So I didn't even bother to look up the developers. You can go first, Frank, since you've been here.
I'm gonna go with. I'm actually going with Star Wars Episode 2. I thought that game was definitely ass. Indiana Jones. If it's the version I'm thinking of, they're both bad. You're right, Break. But it's kind of fun. I mean, it's still stupid. I mean, it's not great, but there's a little bit of fun to be had with Temple of Doom, both versions. So I'm definitely going with Star Wars Episode 2. No fun to be had in that game.
The Last Crusade too, didn't they?
Yeah.
I only played one version of each of them. I apparently played the good version of the Last Crusade, but I don't think I played the good version of Temple of Doom. I gotta go Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom.
All right, so it's Eric.
Temple of Doom for the
Son
Atari,
of a
right?
bitch.
Oh,
Son of a bitch.
NES.
Oh, I don't think I ever played that one. I played the Last Crusade.
Yeah, Last Crusade was good. I liked it.
So that versus the Game Boy Advance version of Star Wars Episode 2.
Yep.
I haven't played either of these, but I think I've seen footage of a Let's Play for Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. So something tells me Star Wars is more dog shit, though. So I'm going for Star Wars.
Good
when you're
choice.
talking, I really thought you were going to say Indiana Jones.
I know. Me too. Good choice, Eric. Good choice.
That was a twist ending you
I
weren't
know.
expecting.
I know.
You M. Night Shyamalan us.
Yeah.
Or something. Anyway, next we have back to Star Wars. Star Wars Episode 6 for the Super Nintendo. Frank, Eric, you talked about Mode 7 graphics and how they're hard to see. Well, the last level of this fucking game is a total Mode 7 fest through the Death Star, and everything fucking looks the same.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's another game that I rented, and thank God I rented it instead of buying it. Speaking of rented, I only rented one of these.
They're also a hard as bull shmup shooting fest in every other level.
Oh yeah.
Where the game just throws everything, including the kitchen sink, at you in an effort to kill you.
Yeah. All of the NES Star Wars or Super NES.
SNES, yeah.
They're
still fun. It's just they were brutal.
Yeah. Well, the fun quality, we can disagree on them. Sometimes I liked them. Sometimes I hated them. But the Mode 7 graphics in the Episode 6 were just...
Also, playing as Luke exclusively with a lightsaber is hard because you're dealing with laser fire and shit coming from everywhere.
Yeah,
a lightsaber is not going to cut it at that point.
Yeah. And next you have, I mean, it should technically, but
Yeah, but you've got shitty controls for the lightsaber.
yeah. Anyway, next we have RoboCop 1, 2, and 3 for the NES. I rented a couple of these, and both of them were fucking crap games. Slow walking. I get it. He's RoboCop. He's supposed to be slow moving, but whatever. This is supposed to be a game. It's supposed to be fun. And you failed. You failed miserably. All of you. Eric, you can start this one out.
All these RoboCop games are dog shit. Even the SNES RoboCop 3 was dog shit.
I don't think I played it because I played a couple of the NES games and I was just done with RoboCop at that point.
So I'm voting for the entirety of the RoboCop series.
Frank?
I disagree with you guys. I think there's a lot of fun to be had in the first RoboCop game for sure.
Maybe the first one. The other two are dog.
Yeah, the other two are pretty dog shit, but the first game was actually not too bad. I enjoyed it. I actually beat that game. Star Wars.
I actually remember the first one, and I think of the three, it was the best one.
Yeah, for sure it was the best one. Star Wars Episode 6, on the other hand, for the SNES, is ass. Word of the day, ass. So I'm going with Star Wars as the worst.
I like how Scud was doing it emphatically as if the angry video game nerd would
I
have
know.
done it.
Ass! It's ass!
Ass!
It's ass!
Ass!
All right, so I guess you're the tiebreaker, Break?
Tiebreaker. I am going to go. Ooh, this one's tough because that's all three RoboCops. But you do make a good point, Frank. The one wasn't completely terrible. It was at least playable. The first one was. Whereas now, I just don't think I could even do the last level of episode mode 7 graphics and everything is brown and red. Yeah, I'm gonna go with episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Next, we have Blues Brothers 2000 for the N64.
Wait, what? This was the thing?
Yeah.
Yes, they made a
Why?
game out of it.
I'm voting for it based on principle. How do you make a game out of that? They barely made a game off the NES Blues Brothers based on the old Blues Brothers film.
No, this one was based on the 2000 movie that was
With Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dan Aykroyd was an original, but this was he had the three guys. They had the two guys and a kid with him this time.
Yeah.
One of them was Goodman. So John Goodman and two other people.
Wasn't Godzilla for the NES like a strategy game? Is that
No?
Okay.
That was Godzilla 2 for the NES.
Okay.
I didn't play Blues Brothers 2000, but from what I was seeing on reading about it, like it was an absolute terrible game, and just the idea alone, it shouldn't have happened. Godzilla for the NES was absolutely an unplayable game unless you had the Game Genie, and it was unplayable as Godzilla. Like you were just,
At least it looked pretty.
yeah, I guess it looks pretty, right? But you could play as Godzilla or Mothra, and you're going left to right, and you're just getting hit nonstop, barrage of enemy after enemy, and there's nothing you can do to dodge anything. And like I said, I had to get through it with the Game Genie just spamming with Mothra for the most part. His special move, or her special move, I mean. Yeah, I have bad memories of Godzilla. Like it's one of those games I wanted to like so much, but I couldn't. I'm voting Godzilla. What do you want, Eric?
I'm voting for Blues Brothers because it shouldn't have happened.
I think I'm going for Blues Brothers as well, just because I didn't even know that game existed, and it sounds awful on its face. And at least Godzilla,
I need to watch footage of this game though after the show.
At least Godzilla, you had some decent graphics for the time and decent pictures, of Godzilla.
There were a few games on here that I never even knew existed, but I had to put them on here. Like Blues Brothers 2000 was one of those. Like, oh my God, this is real. Okay, this is on here. Here's another one: the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I remember that game.
600.
I remember it.
Oh, I was watching a little I checked out screenshots. I didn't watch video. Versus a game based on an action game based on a really dramatic movie with a lot to say about war and stuff like that. Like it was a bad idea to make an action game based on this movie.
Yeah.
Platoon for the NES. Like Platoon was the first movie where I saw that nobody was safe. Like in a war movie, because there's a point like I think it's about the middle point of the movie where they're in the middle of a conversation and one guy, like one of the main characters, just gets shot in the middle of a conversation. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because I believe they were ambushed at that point.
I'm playing footage of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, by the way. Hold on. Let's start it from the beginning. That they're trying to do the the beginning music. Oh, I don't know what that is.
Ow. I think your oven's gone.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, to be honest, I remember that game. You played as Leatherface, which was one of the first games that you actually played the villain.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
you can go first, Frank.
I'm definitely not picking Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I actually had a lot of fun with that game. I'm picking Platoon. Platoon is another ass game.
I get lost.
But
It's a
I do
fun
agree
one.
with you, Break. It broke ground a little bit because it did kill off one of the characters mid sentence actually. So, you know.
Yeah, and it was a shocking moment.
Yeah. I
War
mean,
movie. Because I mean, you're in war movies, the main character, like, you're always expecting them to get out for the most part.
Right.
There's a few where they don't, like,
yeah.
none of them come to mind at the top of my head, but there were some that. Anyway, Eric, you're next.
I'm voting for Platoon. Fuck Platoon. I got lost in that game.
Yeah, I'm voting for Platoon as well because what Frank said, like, that was one of the first games where you actually got to play as the villain,
Yep.
which is kind of neat.
Yeah, and it's actually not bad. I mean, all those games were rudimentary, right? Like all those 2600 games, but
Yeah.
this one actually, like, I mean, you really felt like Leatherface going and chainsawing people. You know, it was actually kind of cool. I don't know.
Next, we have Godzilla for the Game Boy, which had you as a little lizard thing,
Yeah.
climbing up vines and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was called Godzilla. You looked nothing like Godzilla. I don't know what you were, but I just remember climbing up.
Maybe
and
they
down
were
vines.
basing it off of that movie, that American movie where you look like more like a lizard instead of, you know.
Like, no, I look like a badly drawn lizard in the Game Boy game. Versus Karate Kid for the NES, which is apparently one of the worst NES games. I honestly did not play this one just because it looks boring. The game itself just looks boring. Whereas I played Godzilla and it was a stupid idea. I don't even fucking understand what was going on. I'm gonna go first and say Godzilla because I played it and it was stupid. Eric. You're next.
I'm gonna vote for Waterworld because it was one, it was Waterworld. Two, it was
No, Godzilla versus
We're
Karate
talking
Kid.
about Godzilla versus Karate Kid.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the next list. Sorry. I was actually looking at something. I'm gonna vote for Karate Kid.
Okay, Frank.
I don't think I ever saw the first.
I played Karate Kid. I've seen Godzilla on the Game Boy. I agree with you, Break. I think I'm gonna go with Godzilla by the slimmest of margins. It should be Karate Kid, though, man. Karate Kid is so bad.
Eric says something. I start typing it for some reason. I don't know why. Like, he said, as soon as he said it, I started typing it. Like, what? No. Frank says I gotta go. Next. What's that?
I guess I already gave you my answer for the next category.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Next, we have Waterworld for the Virtual Boy. There was actually also a couple other versions. I think there was a Genesis version or a Nintendo version, which were really bad.
I think it was SNES.
But from what I heard, Virtual Boy version was unplayable at some points because of the sun in the game would get into the view of, or something. Like, wow, okay. I liked the Virtual Boy. Versus arguably the worst NES game of all time, Total Recall. Great movie, terrible game that just was bad in every way. Not fun at all. I am going to go ahead and let Eric start. Oh, he already told us he wanted Waterworld. Frank,
I'm going with Total Recall because you're right, man. Huge disappointment. Great movie, shit-defied game. Total ass.
I played Total Recall. Yeah, it was a total ass game. I never got to play Waterworld. It was one of the few. That one and Jack Brothers, I think it was, were the only two Virtual Boy games I never got to play.
Any game on the Virtual Boy is terrible.
Jack
Still
Brothers
to
is
say.
cool.
Oh, that's sad that I didn't get to play it. I liked most of the Virtual Boy games I played. It's sad to hear this one was as bad as it was, but the problem with the Virtual Boy, I know everybody hates the graphics. Like the red and black graphics didn't bother me at all. What I hated about it was after about 15 minutes of playing it, your brain started to melt. Like it was the most painful
It
fucking
was
headache.
due entirely
Yeah.
to the color scheme.
Yeah.
It would give me the most painful fucking headache after just like 15 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
It was the worst. for that no. I played Total Recall, and Total Recall was a shit game. I'm voting for Total Recall.
Yep, total ass, Godema. Total ass is what they should have called it.
Ass Recall.
Ass recall.
I was looking for the
I
worst.
think it's like I voted for Waterworld over that because we already gave Total Recall like a victory in the previous tournament.
I know.
Be different.
It's okay.
Yeah, I get it. I was looking for the worst Shrek game because there are a lot of them. Apparently, this is the worst. Shrek Swamp Kart Speedway for the Game Boy Advance, and it looks like total ass. Like, it's a terrible looking game. Versus Ghostbusters for the NES. I only played the second one. I didn't play the first one. Apparently, it's very similar to the versions that I'd played on the Atari, which was a fun but hard game. Except for there is a sequence toward the end where you apparently have to walk up all 25.
If you can believe it, the C64 version of Ghostbusters is worse than the NES version.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. I put the NES version on here. So anyway, I'll let you pick first, Eric.
I'm voting for Ghostbusters.
I will go next. I am voting for. I was looking just at screenshots, and it was one of the ugliest Game Boy Advance games I think I've ever seen. Especially as a kart racing game, they had a pretty decent kart racing game on the Game Boy Advance with Mario Kart.
Fuck that game.
That bad.
You know, the real good Game Boy Advance kart racer was Konami Crazy Kart Racers.
I don't think I played that one. I am going to vote for Shrek, just off the screenshots. And I never played the
I really hate Super Circuit. It's ugly as fuck. Not fun.
Yeah, I didn't say it was a great game, but it looks better than Shrek.
Yeah. Shrek looks like barf.
Yes, Frank, you're the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and I'm going with Shrek. Ghostbusters, there was a little bit of fun to have, even though it was a shitty game. Shrek Swamp Ass Speedway is what they should have called that game. It is terrible in every which way, shape, and form.
Next are two games that I actually played. I beat one the first time I played it, in fact. I played all the way through it in about an hour, and I got all the achievements for just playing it on hard mode. Battle of Los Angeles for the Xbox 360, based on the movie, which it was an action movie. It was okay. It was a movie. You know, it happened. Versus a movie that never actually happened. In fact, this was a quote-unquote sequel to the movie, Goonies. Goonies 2 for the NES. What the fuck? I hate that fucking game.
Yeah.
The Battle of Los Angeles was just move from point A to point B and shoot aliens. With crappy-looking aliens with weak-ass guns. You could beat it in about an hour on hard and get all the achievements.
Sorry.
Like, it's not a hard game even on hard mode. Versus Goonies 2, where I was trying to figure out what the fuck I was doing most of the goddamn time. I'm voting Goonies 2. Like, it was just terrible in every way for me. I hated it. Frank, you're next.
I'm also going with Goonies 2 because that game is literally confusing. Scotoma says, remember the Three Stooges for Game Boy Advance? I love to forget it, Scotoma. Played a little of Goonies 2 and liked what he played. What the fuck were you playing, Freak 5?
It's like a different
game was ass.
Come on, Eric.
They should have called it Ass 2. Assies 2.
What's this Battle Los Angeles game?
It's based on the movie.
shooter.
It sucks.
First
It's a
shooter.
generic fucking first-person shooter, right? Break?
Yeah, it's a very generic first-person shooter. You just shoot the same ugly aliens over and over again.
Yeah, Goonies 2 was confusing, but it had a method to its madness, and it actually played more like a Maze of Gallius game. So I'm not gonna fault Goonies 2 for being confusing for kids. So I'm gonna vote for the generic shooter Battle Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I remember the movie being a thing.
Yeah, the movie was okay. It was milquetoast, you know. So
Yeah, I believe my review of it was a movie.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 4 for the Super Nintendo. We talked about how bad the sixth one is with that Mode 7 graphics at the end. This one was just kind of the first take on this being attacked by enemies all the time. Is Luke or Han? I think Chewie was the other playable character, and like the enemies. None of these were Star Wars type enemies. These are just the weirdest fucking creatures for the most part. Every once in a while you'd fight like Jawas or stormtroopers and stuff, but most of the time you're getting attacked by weird aliens, and you're just trying to shoot them. You don't get the lightsaber in this one. either, which was, I thought, a lot of the fun. I didn't enjoy that one. Versus Days of Thunder, which was sometimes I like the episode 4, just depending on what day of the week it was, I guess. Days of Thunder was one of the old school racing games, and you guys know how I feel about the old school racing games, the ones where you're driving at the screen and it's basically just moving back and forth to avoid the objects that come at you. For that reason, I gotta go Days of Thunder. Shit. Eric, you're next.
I'm voting for Days of Thunder because I watched my brother play it on the NES back in the day, and it just did not look fun.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Days of Ass is what I would call it.
Days of Ass.
Freak 5 says, it would make a day at the zoo interesting if someone dosed all the animals with ecstasy. It definitely would make for quite a day.
Just don't do it to the monkeys.
Yeah, don't do that. Horny bastards.
Apes are okay. Apes are fine, but not the monkeys. Apes can be trusted. Monkeys can't be trusted.
Yeah, chimps will rip
Especially
your face off.
Yeah, chimps will rip your face off.
The chimps are the leaders. You gotta watch out.
I saw fucking Planet of the Apes, man.
Next,
right.
We have Jurassic Park for the Game Boy versus Lethal Weapon for the NES. I played Lethal Weapon. It was a dog shit game, action game. I did not play the Jurassic Park Game Boy game. I just looked at the screenshots in this one. Frank, you can start this one.
I'm going with Lethal Weapon. Jurassic Park on the Game Boy was ass, but not as much as Lethal Ass. Lethal Ass for me.
Ass. Lethal ass.
Yeah, we'll just call this episode Ass. So I'm voting for Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
I'm going Lethal Weapon as well. I didn't even play the Game Boy. The Game Boy Jurassic Park's apparently really bad. I didn't play it, though. But I did, unfortunately, play an emulation of Lethal Weapon. Actually, I should say, fortunately, I played an emulation of Lethal Weapon. Next, we have Highlander for the Commodore 64. This is one of these games that was almost on every bad, worst game ever made list for some reason. I didn't even know it existed, but apparently Highlander for the Commodore 64 is absolute total garbage. Versus The Hunt for Red October on the NES. It was just okay, mostly. You're just piloting the sub.
Lethal Queef, Scotoma says.
I'm going to go first, and I'm going to go Hunt for Red October just because I played. Oh, no, actually, you know what? I'm going to go Highlander because of what I was reading about it. I'm going with Highlander. Apparently, it's just a bad game all around. Wasn't fun to play. It looked like ass. I did look at the screenshots. Eric, what do you want?
Highlander and what again?
Hunt for Red October.
I'm voting for Hunt for October.
Frank, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm going with High Asser. One of the worst games ever.
High Asser.
Yeah.
High Asser. Next we have, this is a game I didn't play because I wasn't a fan of the fucking movie. Charlie's Angels for the PS2 versus, and this one might be controversial, but apparently a lot of people hated it. I'm kind of indifferent to it. Sometimes it was fun, other times it was just stupid. Jaws for the NES. Like I said, I'm kind of indifferent to Jaws, whereas Charlie's Angels is based on a bad movie to begin with, and then there are problems with the game itself. So Charlie's Angels for me. Eric, you're next.
Let's see. Charlie's Angels. Jaws has some entertainment value for me.
What about you, Frank?
Charlie's Asses was pretty bad, but ass is just really, really bad. I would have went with Jaws for sure. Jaws is ass, but Charlie's Angels moves on.
Next we have, and I actually have a pretty interesting story, I guess, with Fight Club. I played Fight Club before it was released at the that game show I went to. I like to brag about, because I like to brag. This was the second most popular game there. The most popular game there was Halo 2. The second most popular game there was Fight Club.
Wow.
For the PS2. So people there really thought it was going to be a big hit. And boy, were we all wrong. I was surprised when I think about it. Like, I'm really surprised by how popular it is, considering some of the other games that were there. Resident Evil 4,
Charlie's Queefs.
what was it? The first X-Men 4-player game. What do you call that? I forget what that's called.
Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, those games. Before the Ultimate Alliance, that went over just to X-Men. It was the first one of those. So there were really a lot of good games there, but Fight Club was one of the most popular. Versus, and this one was controversial, but a lot of people didn't like it, and I don't think it holds up now just because of the gameplay. My favorite part of this game always, and probably will be, still fun though. My favorite part of Top Gun was trying to land the plane, and then instead of landing it, just sinking the goddamn aircraft.
Yeah.
Or worse, trying to line up the fuel canister to get it refueled.
Yeah. I usually just sank the aircraft carrier. I just stopped trying to land it and just try to send it. But it's another game where enemies are just flying at you and you're just pointing your gun around the screen. Kind of dull.
There's like no depth of field, so they kind of just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, they exactly do. But like I said, you can sink the aircraft carrier, and that's always going to be fun to me. I'm going to start out and Fight Club. I mean, the only thing about Fight Clubs is like the zoom in on the breaking of bones. Like, ooh, that's a cool thing. I mean, yeah, but the rest of the doing the actual breaking of the bones wasn't fun. It's the most bland fighting game ever fucking made. And I think Abe Lincoln was in it too for some reason. Is a hidden character or something like that because of some weird Fight Club story. Anyway, I'm voting Fight Club. Frank, what do you want?
So we got Ass Club versus Top Ass. I'm also gonna go with Ass Club. Breakman.
Oh, wow. Eric, what do you want?
Not having played Ass Club, I'm voting for Top Ass.
I would actually, if it wasn't up against Fight Club, I probably would have voted for it too. Speaking of games, I'm not actually torn on this one. I think Enter the Matrix for the PlayStation 1 versus, and I rented it. I rented that one versus another game I rented, Ghostbusters 2 for the NES, which was a dumb game. And
first rule of Fight Club: you don't play the game Fight Club.
First rule: don't play the game Fight Club. Okay. Enter the Matrix for the PlayStation 1, which had bad bullet time. It was before, I think, what was that, Max Payne?
Yeah.
Those games, which actually really utilized the bullet time. It was not a good game anyway. Versus Ghostbusters 2, which was weird. It was a weird game, mostly. Not that fun. But Enter the Matrix made me mad. It was one of those games that was just so bad it made me mad. Whereas Ghostbusters 2 was like, I guess it's okay. I'm going to go play something else. Enter the Matrix for me. Eric, what do you want next?
Ghostbusters 2.
Ooh, Frank, you're the tiebreaker.
All right, so we got Enter the Asterix versus Assbusters 2.
The PS2 Matrix game was more fun.
I'm going with Enter the Asterix. It was ass. Just total and utter ass.
Ass, got it. I like that title.
Assbusters 2.
Enter the ass, yeah.
Next, we have Cliffhanger for the Genesis. I did not play it. Versus Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the NES, which I did unfortunately play. Eric, you can start this one out.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Who Framed Roger Ass? I mean,
what do you want, Frank?
So we got Ass Hanger versus Who Framed Roger Ass. I'm gonna say Ass Hanger, just to make you the tiebreaker, Breakman.
Come on, you know for a fact Who Framed Roger Rabbit's a terrible game.
Yeah, I know.
You know you wanted to say Who Framed Roger Rabbit, so Who Framed Roger Rabbit's moving on. God damn that fucking game.
Who Framed Roger Ass moves on.
Next we have Terminator 2 for the arcade. Apparently it's I remember playing it. I kind of liked it, but apparently it's because it's a really bad quarter muncher. I really don't remember Just it's really punishing.
It's definitely a quarter muncher, but it's not a
Yep.
terrible game.
Versus Mad Max for the NES, which I don't remember. And I actually don't remember the next NES game either.
I remember
So
it.
I got nothing on that. But I had some fun with Terminator 2, even though it was eating my money. So I'm going to say Mad Max.
I'm voting for Mad Max as well because I saw the Let's Play. Corn Shack does all these games most of the time, and yeah, it doesn't seem very interesting.
What do you want, Frank?
Terminator wasn't bad, the arcade game, but Mad Ass is definitely
No, it's Terminator 2 Judgment Ass.
Judgment Ass. Okay,
Ass
or
Judgment.
Ass Max. Ass Max for sure, man. Definitely a milquetoast game, boring as fuck.
Next, we have Star Wars Episode 5. That's Empire Strikes Back on the Atari 2600 versus Die Hard on the NES.
Enter the
I do not remember
Queefrix.
Die Hard. What's that?
Enter the Queefrix, Scotoma says.
I am going to let Eric pick first.
I'm gonna vote for Star Wars. The other one's Bill and Ted. Oh.
No, it's Star Wars Episode 5. Empire Strikes Back. Whoa, whoops.
Oh,
I do
wait.
that.
You have an NES and an
I
Atari.
NES versus an Atari. Oh, that's what I did. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, so we're on the Die Hard one. Okay.
My bad. I didn't realize I did that.
I'm voting for Die Hard. I don't even remember Episode 6 for the Atari.
I remember the scene of I've seen the video of the screen where you're the.
Hey, do you already have Star Wars Episode 6 listed for the
No,
Atari?
this is 5, Eric.
It's
This
fine.
is episode
We're
5.
This is Empire.
Oh, well, yeah, I'd still vote for the other one.
Frank.
Star Wars episode Ass versus what was the other one?
Die Ass. Or Ass Hard. It's Ass Hard.
Ass
Yeah.
Hard. I'm voting for. Oh God, This is the one that this one's not terrible. I played this one. I actually like this. This is Empire Strikes Back, right? Episode. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Die Hard actually, because episode 5 was probably the least worst of all those Atari 2600 games.
It's the one apparently that's most liked of the Atari.
Yeah, it's actually not
I
bad.
do not remember Die Hard though. Is the problem?
It's ass, but it's worse ass. Yeah.
I don't remember the game at all. Whereas episode 5 seemed like it would have been fun if I had an Atari back then. So I am gonna go Die Hard.
Okay.
Moving here. Next we have Star Wars Episode 5 for the NES, which was a hard game, and I actually enjoyed, even though Luke was like half-inch tall or something. Like, he was really, really tiny. Versus Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure for the NES.
Oh.
I am gonna let Frank start this one.
Yeah, Bill and Ted's Excellent Ass Venture. It's terrible.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, I gotta go with you guys. So Bill and Ted, because I actually episode 5 it was on a lot of people's lists for the NES, but I liked the game, even though it was balls hard a lot of time. And like I said, Luke was about a half-inch tall. It's like really one of the smallest game characters I can remember. Next, we have RoboCop for the Xbox, because apparently RoboCop, no matter what, is always a bad game, versus Nightmare on Elm Street for the NES, which I always wanted to play back then. But apparently it's a good thing I never got to play it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I did play it as an emulator. Yeah, it's a good thing I never got to play it. But the one cool thing about Nightmare on Elm Street was it was actually a 4-player game. One of the few. There were a few that I had the 4-player multi-thing so I could play Gauntlet. 4 people. I liked it. From what I played of Nightmare on Elm Street versus what I saw of RoboCop, neither one of these is fun. Eric, you can start this one.
I'm gonna vote for Nightmare on Elm Street because I don't have any idea of what RoboCop's supposed to play like.
I am going to go with RoboCop to put Frank on the spot.
Yeah, I'm going with Robo Ass too. Nightmare on Ass Street. I saw Corn Shack do a playthrough of Nightmare on Ass, and it was okay. You know, it wasn't as bad
I
as
think
what
it would
people
have been
make out.
fun with 4 players too. Like I said, like I only played as an emulator, so I only played as a
Nightmare on
single player.
Queef Street. All right.
Next, we have Iron Man 2 for the PlayStation 3 versus Alien 3 for the NES. That's confusing. Frank, you could start off.
I'm going Iron Man 2. Very disappointing on the PS3. I thought it was going to be a kick-ass hero game, and it was Iron Ass 2 is bad. And Alien Ass 3,
You think Sega would have learned after the first Iron Man game did poorly?
yeah.
What do
it
you
was-
want, Eric?
I'm voting for Alien 3.
I am gonna go with Eric. I hate Alien 3. It's just a bad game. It was essentially like the dumbed down version of like the Super Nintendo Genesis version. Just like no.
Yeah.
Next, and this game probably shouldn't have happened. I did know it happened. Catwoman for the GameCube. Apparently, the game is even worse than the bad movie. Versus Friday the 13th for the NES, one of the worst games.
Whoa! I just found out that the Planet of the Apes movies are continuing.
Yes. I'm glad. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Eric, you can start this one. Oh, this is the last one, isn't it?
Yep.
Shit, I didn't even realize. This is the last one.
Catwoman versus Family Cat, or the Friday the 13th.
Catwoman for the GameCube or PlayStation or.
I never played Catwoman, and I've never had a desire to.
Mm-hmm.
And why I think Friday the 13th is dog shit. I think it had some redeeming value. I don't think Catwoman ever had any redeeming value.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm voting for Catwoman.
Frank?
I'm going with Ass Woman as well.
Wow, she's moving on.
Cat-ass, I don't know.
Ass Day the 13th is actually not as... It gets a bad rap, but there's some really good things about that game. It's scary, for one.
That's true. It is one of the scariest NES games because you never know where Jason's going to be.
And
you know you're going to run into him right away.
And then all of a sudden... Meh, 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 and you know you had to haul ass over to the counselors, otherwise they would fucking die. And then
he was always in the first house I went into. Every fucking time.
Yeah, and then you'd go into a house, and sure enough, there he was. And then you'd have to fucking dodge machetes, and oh my god, that game is definitely scary. Yeah.
Wham! I'll throw a rock at him.
Yeah, I could never ever pass that game, but still, like I said, had some, you know.
I would have voted for Friday the 13th, but Catwoman moves on in a stunning overturn of events. And not as many. No, I guess a lot of Atari games, a lot of PlayStation, or sorry, NES games moved on, but not as many as I thought.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, there's just so many bad NES games.
Well, they were doing a lot of shovelware and a lot of licensed games that were just ass. So you know, but
the license, like there were other games I wanted to put on here, and just I ran out of room. Games like Predator, for instance.
Fryqueef the 13th. Oh man, yeah, I know. There was the Predator fucking new game, that piece of shit that people were playing and had fun with that looked like ass to me is ass. They should have called it Pred Ass, or you know.
There was a Predator game I used to play on the. It was Alien vs Predator, maybe.
Yeah, that one was
2000.
kind of fun. Yeah.
No, it was like 2001, I think.
Yeah.
It was around the time that No One Lives Forever came out.
Yeah.
Which is also an amazing game that needs to come back.
Freak 5 says RP Queefers. RP Assers. Oh my god, man. RP Queefers. I love it, man. All right, we got to get out of here, guys. It's past our time, our allotted time. So
The name of this episode should be this episode was full of ass.
I don't think I'm doing the show tonight. I think it's break, and this is perfect opportunity for break.
Another night I'm going to spend doing this show again. God damn it. And after last time, if you, I'm going to wait about a half hour, an hour before I get in here, I guess.
Yeah.
For you to post it. If it's not in here, I'm going to reboot my computer before I do the show.
Okay, yeah. Please do that. It was funny the last time, break, man. He's referring to he's like on me. He's like, you know, on Twitter. He gives me a DM. He's like, "Are you gonna put the episode in there or what?" And I'm like, dude, it's in there.
Yeah, were you fucking blind?
Queef the 13th is greater than Dragon Queef. How dare you, Freak 5? You're exiled, you son of a bitch. Queef Grinders. How dare you, Skonema, son of a bitch.
Friday the 3rd Queen?
Friday the 3rd Queef. All right, let's do our plugs. Break, plug away, please.
Follow me at RPGrinders on Twitter, where I'm suspended still for a few days. Finally I got in trouble on Twitter. It's been a while since I've gotten in trouble, but I called Marjorie Taylor Greene a cunt, and apparently she didn't like that in her voice.
Oh God, what a fucking cunt.
No, it was probably like one of her, people followers or something.
Yeah, probably.
Like, oh my God.
Oh my God, you called a woman a cunt. How dare you?
Well, I'm sorry. She was talking about breaking up the United States of America.
I know.
don't know what else to call her but a cunt.
Yeah. All right, Eric, plug away, please.
You can find my written articles on bossbashbrigade.com, or you could go to the audio feed for the podcasts and listen to my audio reviews of games. And if you like either of those things and you want to support me, there's a link to my Patreon and my Twitter profile, which is at EricRPG.
All right. Anything else, Eric?
Sending me as little as $1 would help out.
Yeah. All right. You can follow me at Frank Branches on Twitter. I'm hardly ever there, though. You can follow me on any of the systems, mostly PS5 right now because I'm playing Last of Us 2, RPGrinders. I want to thank everybody that was in chat. Freak 5, Skodema,
I was
Owanella,
disconnected from chat. I was wondering why I sent one. I was wondering why I'm looking at old messages.
OAX2, AOK, Alicidra, Odyssia, Commander Root, Drapsnat, Kata, Lurks. Lurks is in here. What's up, Lurks? Streamfarer and Violets TV. Thank you all for being in there and being lurkers, except for Freak 5 and Skodema. You guys rock. As always, Freak says I'm plugging Bernie's OnlyFans, or should I say Bernie's Only Queefs? How dare you, man. How dare you. All right, anything else, gentlemen?
Aw, I can't catch
Ass.
up. I can't catch up in chat. I'm sorry, guys. I'll see you guys later. I can't say anything in chat, apparently.
All right.
I'm still looking at total ass.
Yeah, total ass. All right. Thanks for joining this ass-tastic episode. So stay safe this weekend. We want to see you back here next week. Till then, we are out. Later, everybody. Ass! Get that ass! Queef-tastic. Ass. All right, everybody in chat, thank you guys and gals so much. Really appreciate it. Have an ass-tastic week. Queef-tastic, all that fun stuff. Till next